Airlines is down 10%. And so I think, there's a better inverse relationship opportunity with some of the other airlines that we have. I didn't buy Broadcom today, but it is very weird to see this one down when OpenAI announced that their custom ASIC with Broadcom is better than NVIDIA at certain tasks, better than the Blackwell. So a little confusing. It's almost like the market's not believing it, but Broadcom right there, 355.88, as that is also down. The other thing I bought was VST. So I put out not a deep dive, but at least a explanation of kind of why I would take a starter position on X, and you can read through it, and we'll probably talk more about it on Technical Tuesday as some of these energy names are getting a lot more attention. But I think it's compelling here. I think it's relatively compelling. If you put a base case 9x EBITDA multiple, assuming $8 billion of EBITDA and the continued few billion of buybacks they're doing, you get to a price of about $185. So I don't think it's that crazy, but yeah, Vistra is another name I bought today along with American Airlines. And, I've been talking about Vistra for the past couple of weeks now. You had the insider buy yesterday. The CEO bought some more. So David Tepper has a $350 million position, added 10% to his position. Peter Thiel added a $59 million position. So I think there's enough momentum. Stock's down 20% year to date. So it does feel like there's a little bit more alpha there if we think the energy bottleneck is important. We'll talk more about that, but that's up 2.71%. For those complaining about ads, I literally don't know what to tell you guys. I showed you my YouTube analytics yesterday. They are turned off. I don't know what to say. So I get the complaints, but I also can't address the complaints every single day because I just don't know what to do anymore. But the ads are off on my end. If you got a complaint, you got to complain to Google. OpenAI, this was the big headline. Another executive is leaving.
Hey, Scott, we're just learning that OpenAI's head of data centers is leaving the company. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. We have reached out to OpenAI. No comment yet. The Journal citing people familiar with Matter. Chris Malone is the name of this gentleman. He joined this company around the time where they launched Stargate. If you remember that massive, very ambitious data center effort with Oracle and SoftBank, he was leading this entire multi-billion dollar effort over at OpenAI. But it does add to a string of recent departures. We've talked a lot about Denise Dresser, Chief Revenue Officer. You had Brad Lightcap, Fiji Simo, all left for a variety of reasons. But it is the latest example of some of the executive turnover and volatility at a time when this company has filed confidentially to go public from what we're...
This is kind of crazy, bro. They're trying to go public. Last week, the Chief Revenue Officer left. Many of the founders have already left, and that was over the past 10 months. Now the head of data centers, which I would imagine is a relatively important position because, OpenAI is bootstrapping a lot of these data centers that they're having $1 trillion of CapEx for. It is just weird to see executives leave the hottest pre-IPO startup before it goes public, right? Like you would imagine you would want to be along for that journey.
We're hearing it could be closer to 2027, but strategically a very important part of the business as they really try to ramp up compute, try to get more access to compute and spend a lot to do so. But again, Chris Malone reportedly leaving OpenAI, Scott.
So if someone looks at this and then what we just showed on the wall that we made of the recent departures from the company, is it a stretch to suggest that this feels like a company in some degree of disarray or not?
Yes, Scott, from people that I'm talking to, but part of the deal when you invest in OpenAI is a certain level of volatility, whether that's executive volatility, whether that's management volatility, the growth of the business, the speed of the business. And from what I've heard from sources, it is a place where they hire quickly, but they also fire quickly. Again, we don't know what happened with Chris Malone if he left at his own volition. If he was fired, we don't have details in terms of his exit, but you compare that to their largest rival, Anthropic, which still has its 7 co-founders that are still there. This is sort of par for the course when you talk to OpenAI investors who say they might have been surprised by certain departures, yet they have come to expect this. And as long as the key people, meaning Sam Altman, Greg Brockman at this point, and the CFO, Sarah Fryer, are still at the helm ahead of an IPO, they're comfortable with it. But it does highlight, compute is such an important part of their business. So in a vacuum, this might not be a headline, but given everything we know about the company lately, it is significant.
Maybe it's not a headline, maybe it is, but it's just, it's not like 1 or 2 people. It's like 5, 7 executives have left over the past 7 months. Multiple co-founders have left. It just makes you wonder, why are they leaving and what other opportunities are they getting that's better than open freaking AI? Now, maybe their equity is already vested, so they don't feel like they need to stay because they already know they're going to get their stock. But that is one of those headlines that came out. I think that was also important. And, this is also very interesting. Anthropic is planning to basically juice up this S1 in the best way they can. Anthropic, this is per the Wall Street Journal, expected to tell investors it sees over $30 trillion in its potential revenue TAM, which is also what SpaceX said, by the way. SpaceX was like 29 trillion. 30 trillion, to give people some context, is 25% of the world's GDP. It was 100% of America's GDP in 2025. You guys are saying ceasefire announced. Oh, that's bullish. Maybe Anthropic can be a $3 trillion company if we don't have any war in Iran. But yeah, it's a little aggressive, the estimates of their TAM, but they're getting ready to juice up the IPO. I just don't feel that comfortable buying the IPO. But if we don't have a war happening, I think a lot more people will be comfortable buying the IPO. Is that true? Is that a real headline? Cactus posted it. Reported deal includes free navigation through the Strait of Hormuz and renewed negotiations under the Islamabad Memorandum. This is a news source citing Pakistani and Iranian military sources reported Tuesday that the United States and Iran agreed to end hostilities and could announce a ceasefire in the coming days. Well, there's that spike on the S&P. That's probably also that spike on NVIDIA. NVIDIA's 213 right there, up from 212. Okay, so this is not official. I mean, it felt like something like this was going to be reported. It hasn't hit the mainstream like Bloomberg's yet. But given the reporting we had this morning, which is why oil was down, by the way, oil continues to fall 81.50. The reason it was down this morning is because of a potential Pakistani intermediary deal. I know we've heard this over and over again, but last time we heard it, the 10-year was not screaming. I mean, maybe this time the market cares about it. Zoom right there is down 4%, Intuit down 3.5%, Amazon down 0.5%. You're not really seeing the entire market get a crazy pump on that, though. If it was real, I think the markets would be getting a lot more excitement. And you're not seeing that yet. But hopefully we see if it can get there. Again, cruise lines, airlines, I mean, even growth stocks, semis, a lot of stuff would benefit if we actually fully announce a ceasefire. I would imagine S&P all-time highs was what, 778, 779? I think we probably get right back over 770, and then we make a run for 8,000 if that is true. So we're going to have to see if this happens. Pakistani's ambassador to Tehran met with the other foreign minister, and two sides exchanged views on ways to strengthen bilateral cooperation between Islamabad and Tehran. Okay, I think we're getting closer to it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but if it does happen, obviously it would be very, very exciting. And, that would be kind of what we need going into the end of the year. Oil right there at 82. Now we have Zoom and Intuit. Let me know in the chat if anyone owns this. In the poll, 64% of you picked Intuit. I don't know these companies as well. I think it's Intuit. I don't think Zoom's going to have massive growth numbers. I mean, they're expected to do, if we look at the earnings, 4% growth, $1.27 billion, EPS of $1.50. Options are implying a 9% move. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's something in the guidance that's supposed to be a little bit better. Zoom's last quarter was actually really good. Free cash flow was strong. You had more of their AI companion paid users. That was up 184% year over year. Intuit is the one that's down 50% year to date. And, fiscal year revenue is expected at 14%. You have their TurboTax business, Credit Karma. If they can just show that Anthropic's not killing their business, I don't know. Now, maybe the growth is not good enough and Intuit falls another 10%, which would be, Intuit bottomed at like 280-ish earlier in the year. But they fell from like $700. So I would imagine any piece of good news gets Intuit some love. If not, then we're going to have to see how this ends up playing out. All right, we got 10 seconds. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to look at these companies. We also have Semtech earnings. We'll take a look at them as well. And then in about 20 minutes, we will have Jason and get into Technical Tuesday and keep going from there. Tuesday, August 25th, 4 p.m., the stock market is now closed. All right, markets close and Intuit numbers come out immediately. That is the fastest I've seen an earnings print come out. Are the numbers that bad? They just needed to get it out of the way? Did they just puke it out of the system? Down 7% already? 10%? Goodness gracious, dude. Well, yeah, the 65% of people, including myself, that thought Intuit would outperform. Looks like that's not happening. 10% in 5 seconds after. Like, has anyone ever seen that quick of a report? What are these numbers? Oh boy, yeah, this is not. Oh my goodness, Intuit sees 2027 adjusted operating income at $8.15 billion. The street thought it would be $10 billion. That's a $2 billion miss. Revenue, the street wanted $23.8 billion for the fiscal year guide. They're saying at $23.5, that's a $300 million miss. EPS is a beat, 403 versus 359. That's a 12% beat. Revenue, $4.35 billion versus $4.27 billion. That's a beat by 2%. EPS is up 50% year over year. Revenue is up 14% year over year. That adjusted operating income guide, regardless of the EPS and revenue growth, is disgusting. And then Q4, the street wanted $3.58. They're guiding for $1.34. My gut reaction is there's got to be a tax shenanigan going on right here to miss this badly. Like either the analysts completely underestimated or overestimated the quality of this business, 14% down within seconds, within a minute of the market close, or there's some tax stuff that's just making the gut reaction look really bad. Goodness, is that going to affect all the other Salesforce SaaS stocks? Wow, it's taken Salesforce down 2, Service now down 3. It's got to take Palantir down 2. Palantir, it's a little red, but not in the same bucket as some of the other SaaS names. What's another one? Figma, that is down a little bit. Zeta's down. Those were already down during the day, so they're not that. So Salesforce and Service now are the ones that are getting. I mean, Zoom is technically a SaaS as well. Zoom, we don't have their numbers. We should be getting it soon. How about Shopify? Shopify's flat. Goodness, bro. Intuit, what is going on? They better have an answer for this. Q4 revenue, $4.4 billion. Systems revenue, $3.4. Credit Karma up 16%. QuickBooks up 20%. Consumer revenue up 14%. Intuit surpassed $20 billion in annual revenue for the first time ever. QuickBooks Online remained a major growth driver. TurboTax revenue grew 37%. Intuit bought $5.5 billion of its stocks so far this year. It raised its dividend to 15%. Management says our strategy is to win as an AI-driven expert platform by creating a financial system of intelligence that increasingly does the work for consumers, businesses, and accountants. I think there's a tax thing here because you don't miss adjusted operating income by $2 billion versus the guide and not say something about that in the press release. Like usually when a company misses expectations dramatically, they know they're missing and they acknowledge it by saying, hey, we messed up. We should have done something different. Here's what happened. The fact that the CEO is not even acknowledging that means that I think in his mind, it's like that's a tax thing. That's not really something we can do. And the market's overreacting to that tax potential. I'm just guessing the tax strategy that they're utilizing right now, which means they might be missing some of their operating income. Does anyone own this name? This is a little aggressive. Yeah, I'm looking at the press release right now. I see nothing. CFO says, as we look ahead, we are focused on execution. They're not even acknowledging the miss. There's a reason this stock is down 12%. Like the press release is acting like everything is great. You have a double beat on EPS and revenue. Something has the street extremely upset, and I think it's that operating income miss that's creating that pain. Can we go back to the SaaS is dead narrative so my semi stocks pump again? Yeah, I mean, if this happened in February, dude, the semi stocks would be going absolutely crazy right now. A couple of you guys have it. But even TurboTax, as much as, you know, that is being commoditized by Claude, I mean, that even grew 37%. Or sorry, consumer revenue, that's up 20%, which I think is what they put into that bucket. I don't have any coverage on Intuit. Yeah, I don't have Zoom yet. We should be getting Zoom soon. That's weird, bro. I think the reason a majority of you guys voted for Intuit on the poll was because it was already down 50%. So I was like, how much lower is this thing really going to go? Even as they beat on all metrics. Yeah, guys, I think it's a tax thing. There's no way they miss EPS on the guide by $2, $3.58 versus $1.34. There's no freaking way they do that without it being like a bigger issue. Semtech, do we have those earnings? That stock is flat. It's up 5% during the day, flat after hours. I'll try to get the numbers in a second. Zoom, whoa. It's zooming all the way down here, down 7%. Okay, let's see the numbers. Zoom, they beat by 5% on EPS, 155 versus 148. Revenue 1.27 billion versus 1.27 billion. Revenue's up 5% year over year. EPS is up 1%. You're not buying Zoom for growth, at least not on the top and the bottom line. I mean, you're getting some free cash flow growth, but you're not really getting EPS or revenue growth in any meaningful capacity. $29 billion company. The reason people bought this stock this year, in my opinion, is because they have an Anthropic stake that when it goes public, I think it's going to be worth, I don't know the math on it, but it's worth I think it's 10, 15 billion, something like that. Or it's around that range. And, there's a premium that you can bake into that to get exposure to it. But outside of that, core growth metrics aren't that exciting. They did beat on the top and the bottom. SaaS summer better not be over, bro. They can take the crappy SaaS names down, but leave the other SaaS names that are growing afloat. Salesforce. Okay, Intuit now is only down 8. It was down 14. Yeah, I don't know, guys. If they actually missed that aggressively and Claude was killing their business, you can't just not acknowledge that in the press release. It's like when Meta fell 15% 2 quarters ago because they missed EPS by 60% because they had to pay $5 billion in taxes. The first thing they said in the press release was we had a one-time tax charge. It's just something you have to acknowledge. Otherwise, it looks bad. And if Intuit's missing by $2 on the fiscal year EPS, $2 is a lot compared to the analyst estimates. There's got to be something deeper there. Zoom still down 2. Semtech, they also beat on the top and the bottom, beat by 16%, 71 cents versus 61 cents expected. And on revenue, they beat by 4%, 341 versus 328 million. Revenue's up 33% year over year. EPS is up 73% year over year. Salesforce is tomorrow, along with CrowdStrike with NVIDIA. That is not today, but NVIDIA will be tomorrow with those, along with Synopsys. Intuit down 8% still after the bell. That's weird, dude. That is weird. Not saying Intuit doesn't deserve to be down, although I'm still trying to figure out why it's down. But the velocity by which they sold it off felt like there was something a bit more aggressive there that got baked in. You had Box also. They had their earnings. This stock is not as volatile. Box is down 4%, though. They also have a double beat. It's not the most impressive, 321 versus 319. That stock down 4%. A lot of these SaaS names just getting hit. Snowflake, dude, Snowflake's been a massive winner from the lows, 150 to 317. That's also down 2%. Looking like because of Intuit. Yes, we will talk about CrowdStrike tomorrow on Salesforce. We don't get NVIDIA earnings until 4:20-ish. So we'll have 20 minutes to go through the other companies, and then NVIDIA will report, and we'll keep going from there. Okay, some more stuff on Zoom. Fiscal year outlook, $5.1 billion. That's in line with expectations. 6.12 of adjusted EPS, $1.82 billion of free cash flow. Stock trades at what? 27 times free cash flow? Actually, hold on, no. If we do the adjusted, it's 17 times free cash flow, which I wouldn't say is expensive, but when you're growing 5%, it feels a little expensive. Zoom still down 2.5, and then Intuit still down 7. Intuit now trades at 4.5 times sales, still growing at 14% for a relatively high quality business if you don't think Claude's going to take their lunch, as that is now also getting hit right here. Trying to get a little bit more coverage on this to see exactly what could be going on. I don't think a lot of us own Intuit or Zoom, though, so it's just we own a bunch of other SaaS names, right? So if there actually is a problem and Claude is legitimately destroying Intuit, as that's now only down 5 after being down 14, then I think people would be curious, right, to see what exactly is happening. This ceasefire headline, though, kind of came out of nowhere right before these earnings. Iran deputy foreign minister said Iran and Oman agreed on a temporary 7-mile transit route through the Strait of Hormuz and will negotiate a permanent route. All right, so the Iranian deputy foreign minister at least acknowledging that them and Oman have come out with somewhat of a meaningful agreement. By the way, someone sold $5 million worth of puts on Meta, $567.50 for tomorrow. So you are getting some nice bullish option flow coming in on Meta. Meta right there closed actually at 570, which is nice. In terms of Semtech, again, they beat on the top and bottom. I think this one has done relatively well this year. That's up 2% after hours after the initial fall. Semtech year to date is up 70%. Another semiconductor company in the analog space. Let me check their guide, which I imagine is better than what the street wanted, but this one was also up a lot going into the print. 20% growth Q over Q. They raised their guide. Wow. Raised their guide nicely. Street thought they would do $325 million in revenue for Q3. They said we're going to do $410 million. And EPS up 80% for Q3. Street said 61 cents. They said we're going to do $1.05. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to get an explosion or anything after hours, but those are really good numbers. It was up 5% during the day and up 70% for the year. Intuit now is only down 3%. That was a crazy reaction. While I was ringing the bell, this started falling. Went to $301. I mean, whoever bought this thing at 301 is already up $40 and is not fully recovered, but still down 4%. Yeah, that was a little bit weird. But then again, you have NVIDIA earnings tomorrow, so I think the whole market is kind of on jitters. Let's get a little bit more analysis right here on Intuit.
For earnings of $4.03 a share, easily topping the estimate of $3.58. Revenue also better than expected, but it's the guidance which seems to be weighing on the stock. First quarter revenue seen at $4.31 billion at the high end of the range. 4.36 is the current consensus forecast. Similar shortfall in guidance for the full fiscal 2027. You see shares down 3.5%. Let's turn to Washington. Canada today responding with retaliation.
Yeah, so even CNBC not really reacting that aggressively because there's nothing to react to. But this EPS miss is confusing. Like the street wanted $3.50. They're saying we're going to do $1.30. There's got to be a tax thing here that the algos just didn't like, even though it's not really an issue. And management probably already talked about this, so they probably didn't feel it's necessary to re-explain it. But that fiscal year guide definitely came in lower than expected. I would imagine it has to be a tax thing. Maybe we'll get some more clarity when they have the call. Intuit right there down 6.4%. Zoom, that is down 2%. They included SBC in calculations for the first time ever. Well, if that is correct, that'll do it. If they've historically given guidance without SBC on EPS, and today's the first time they included it, obviously that would dampen down what comes down to the bottom line. And that might have just been a reaction that was obviously more knee-jerk and didn't really need that type of reaction. I wonder then on the call if they could say some stuff, as they did increase the guide as well, and maybe this thing ends up recovering. Uber right there closed at 80.34, not too bad, 1.3% of the day. Airbnb closed at 190. Netflix also got a good close. Netflix right there at 82, as that was up 3% on the day. Yeah, the SBC thing might be part of the reason why that is happening. Okay, cool. I think that's what we got. We talked about the Anthropic headline, their IPO estimating a $30 trillion TAM. I think we're gonna get the S1 soon. We talked about this OpenAI headline of the head of data centers now leaving. I think those were most of the main headlines. Oh, this headline was kind of crazy. LeBron James borrowed $300 million from Midwestern life insurers months before he joined the Lakers back in 2018. We got the news today. These bonds provided him immediate cash and were backed by some of his future revenue streams, such as his lifetime Nike sponsorship. That's kind of crazy. I didn't know athletes could do that. But then again, if you're at LeBron's level, like, you probably can. But everyone's taken on debt. LeBron, Meta, Google, U.S. Treasury. It's everybody at this point that's doing it. And then the other big headline today was Canada and the increase of their tariffs. I don't think that's actually going to last for that long, but nonetheless, they did increase tariffs on a variety of different U.S. products, 50% on steel. And so we're going to see how the market reacts to that. But the market reaction today was nothing because I think the market knows it's not going to last for a long time. All right. Having said that, it is Tuesday, and we have a variety of different things happening in a variety of different sectors in this market. So it's time to go through some of these technicals. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is time to roll the intro. It's good. It's very
What's
good.
up, bud?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. You're a little soft.
You need
really.
to turn off your background noise.
No. I'm gonna melt.
Yeah, if that's fine. If there's complaints in the chat, then I tried, guys. But it is what you know. Some people said they didn't even hear it last time. Other people were like, "It's so annoying." So I don't know. If you're uncomfortable, then don't turn it off.
I will melt.
But yeah, so then don't turn it off.
It's almost 90, but I can turn it off. Let's see what they say.
You're a little soft.
Liquidated. All I can say.
Okay, some people are saying they can't hear it, so that's okay.
They cannot.
Last time they were, yeah. So keep like last time it was like, 5 or 7 people complained about it, and I can hear it, but I don't care. But as long as everyone's okay.
It's probably because you have the things like in your ears.
That might be part of the reason.
Hold on, I guess somebody wanted to say hi. This is baby Charlie.
Oh my goodness. Hello.
She's sleepy. Have anything to say?
Oh, that's adorable.
Nothing.
Hi, Charlie.
She's a little camera shy.
She's like 2 weeks old, 3 weeks old.
Yeah. Like, can you tell?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
This is what a newborn looks like. Oh, hello.
Oh my gosh.
She's cute. Okay. There you go.
Oh, dude, that's so special. It's a special time in life, man.
Yeah, man.
It's a special
out of control. Happy as heck. Don't drop it. Come on. Not a
Jason
first
got
time.
in early on the Charlie IPO. Yep. He got
definitely got it early.
I'm assuming you're not sleeping at all these days.
Dude. There's zero sleep happening. Oh, well, I got a little bit of sleep. It's rough. So like mama's not working. You got the 2. You got the boy at home who's got like his world's turning upside down. So, you know, naturally becomes a little bit more needy, but we'll see. And then, yeah, the newborn thing, eating every like 2.5 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
It's a little wild. So hopefully, in a month's time, it's not too bad. Keep monitoring the chat though. If it does get bad on the background noise, I'll go ahead and turn it off.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's complaining. So
but I'm moving the mic a little bit closer to me, just in case.
All right,
and
so
Jason will hold me like that. Wow.
You should have held me like that when you came to visit, dude.
You know, I mean, you left, so I mean, I would have.
That's true.
Or when you come to visit me, yeah, we'll do that.
All right, let's get started. I think before we do the S&P today, there's 2 things that people really care about, and I think we'll start with those before we do the general market, which is obviously NVIDIA and BTC. We haven't done BTC in the beginning of the show, I think, for a year. So I think we'll start with NVIDIA, and then we'll do BTC. NVIDIA is kind of useless because we have earnings tomorrow, but I am curious on the sell-off going into the print and kind of how you think of that.
213, I think last week was what I had outlined as support, I believe. If I'm just, my magnet is turned off. Hold on. Magnet. I believe it was 213. Well,
yes,
I was a little off, but I had 213 before. I just now took this measurement. This is from this low to this high at 50%. That is 208.96. I mean, when I zoom in, we're here. So 213 to me is like our larger support that's coming from this area right over here. I can, you know, pull it back and you'll see it more. But from this, just this general extreme here to this extreme that we measure like a typical 50% retracement. That's 208.96, pretty much right where we closed yesterday. I'm honestly happy with it. I think it's perfectly fine. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing from this. If it's going to break this broader kind of like downtrend here, really, you know, here's our last kind of like set of highs. It's a higher high. We need to set a higher low. So in order for that, HL higher low, in order for that to happen, I mean, it had to pull back And as long as it's anywhere in this area, that could constitute a larger press and at least a test of that prior high up here. So that said, it's perfectly fine. If you're looking for, if you're looking for immediate gratification on a lot of chart right now, I will say this is somewhat of a frustrating market because things are doing what they normally do right now, which is kind of stall out, right? Certain things like Bitcoin had been stalling for a really long time. That one finally made a move. To me, so technically it's fine. Do you want to move on to? I can move on to Biddy right now, but
is your bias up or down tomorrow, or you think the option sellers will win and it's stable
on Nvidia?
Yeah.
I think I think the option buyers or the option sellers will win. I'll just show you this. I'll check in on this. So it's a random. You can use a ton of sites to give you the actual data, but you need to pull real data at some level. So this is showing me an expected move on Nvidia of 5.5%, with a prior earnings move averaged at 6.47%. So, I mean, from this perspective alone, it's okay. The reason why I'm gonna assume that option premiums are actually getting lower and lower and lower. Chris actually tagged me earlier today. I didn't reply, but check this out. So this I can look at. This is the average prior moves, but of the last 4 quarters, which is 1 year, last quarter Nvidia 1.8%, 5.5, 3.2, 0.8. Yes, these are all negative. I don't think that matters, but it's been sub 5% moves in the last 12 months. If I go even further than that, 24 months, only once has Nvidia moved significantly beyond that 5.5. And this one just barely. So from a statistical perspective, to answer your question, will the option sellers win tomorrow? My answer would definitively be yes, just strictly based on the last 24 months of earnings. Nvidia has only moved more than 5.5% twice. So 2 out of 8 times is like not good percent. Like that's a pretty bad bet to know that you're only going to win 2 out of 8 times. That's like that literally 25%, 75% probability that you lose money, statistically speaking. So yes would be my sentiment on that. Trying to take a directional bet, not ideal. Also, when I look at this, if we know that 5.5% is the expected move, that get this 5%, 5.5, 6% downside puts Nvidia exactly at $200. My gut is that if Nvidia goes down 6% tomorrow, people are probably going to buy it, right?
Yeah.
Also, if it goes up 6%, let's just for round numbers, that is literally 225, exactly where it broke down, right into resistance. My gut is it probably won't hold it. So for those reasons, 5-6% move in either direction literally just puts it right in this box, which is a neutral box. So honestly, I don't if I were trading this, what I would actually do is I would probably sell like a 225 call and $200 put, both sides, and I would probably buy some longer dated 225 calls and 200 puts, both sides, and I would make it so that within this box, this entire box, I actually make money. Now that you make me think about it, I probably will do this trade just because 75% of the time, if I put that trade on, I'm going to make money if I can structure it that way. And I'm pretty positive I could.
Okay.
But statistically,
BTC.
trying to take the actual direction, no, not ideal. Sorry, guys. Don't mean to burst any bubbles.
No, I think everyone knows it was not expected to have a massive move tomorrow anyway.
You know what's the wildest thing about Biddy, right? The Bitcoin is that what are we at? 25% higher. We go so Biddy makes a 25% run and has yet to break resistance. Like Dude,
MicroStrategy's up 40%. BMNR is up more than 100% from the lows. Like, it's pretty.
Here's
incredible.
resistance. It makes a 25% run and has yet to break resistance. And I'm like, really? Really? It's nice to see. So that said, what do I think can happen from here? I don't, I wouldn't have chased it yesterday. Today we're coming in slightly, from a technical perspective. A lot of people would say, oh, this is like what we call like a bull flag. So you have your giant flag pole, right? Here's your flag pole, and you have whatever your flag, and then it starts to go up and out. This is what we're looking at, technically speaking. I would want it to hold over 80, but 80 is it's a psychological level at this point that's creating some general resistance. I'm just gonna put this here and throw a $80,000 just line straight across. My gut is that I wouldn't chase it regardless. So again, prior resistance here, prior support. Looks like we have a lot. I'm gonna zoom this out on a weekly.
Is the bias more bullish than not based on the highest weekly closing candle last week that we ever saw?
Yes, it is. So, but so the point is, here's the prior support turned into resistance. The question is, what happens right here, right now? Is this going to be resistance, or can it actually get slightly over it, hold, right? Maybe go sideways for a while. And if that's the case, then we can at least go to the next range of resistance, which is this area right here, which should take us into the 90s. If we can get through that, then we are probably looking closer to this area right here, which is, I would say, not 109, but like slightly over 100 before we can expect some real resistance. But right here, right now, this is the first level of resistance. I do like it, but I don't think you need to chase it. I think if you get as close to 70K as possible on a pullback, which might sound aggressive, but it is what it is. Like a 10% drawdown, that's actually, I believe that's going to be about probably about 50% of where we are now, of where we came off the lows. I'm just going to assume without having this marker. Boom. All right. So measuring from here to here. Yeah, 70K, that's exactly 50. So anything in, I would say this general area. So sub 75, below 75 down to 70. If you see Biddy kind of like pulling back, doing a little bit like this kind of price action, actually very typical. Probably the most bullish scenario. I mean, the extra crazy scenarios that it just goes, right? But the most constructive scenario would be something like this. This orange line is like a pathing or just predicted price action. But this would be super constructive because anybody that wasn't in, I don't know that they're going to FOMO, like immediately jump back in. But if they see price kind of pull back into a relative discount, that gives everybody a chance to actually get long, or other shorts that were short down here maybe start to cover their shorts. And then if we see price react one more time, that would be the most constructive scenario. Does that happen? We're TBD. It doesn't have to happen. So as an aside, but if you're looking for an entry to get long, I like that area. But yeah, off the broader term, this is much longer kind of uptrend. That this was really like the best shot that you have, which aligned with all this kind of general area. I think last time we're closer to the lows than we are the highs. We're about midpoint now. And as long as it stays constructive, I would stay long. And even if I'm already long and I see some kind of pullback like this, I would probably get longer. If this makes sense. So, and then we see, so usually, so caveat August, right? And we're out of time, but August is generally very, very bullish crypto. So we want to see through the rest of the quarter, through September into the eating season. Does the low hold? And then from there, you have your kind of like winter rally. And that's how the whole thing sets up.
Let's just do ETH after, but I think you would imagine it's the same thing almost.
It's very much the same thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
both big moves again, right into resistance. So I'm going to zoom out on a daily. 2150 is what I had as a previous pivot here. So off of all this, all of these pivots, breakthrough, then broke down, and now we're basically just trying to reclaim. So similarly, look, if we can turn that into support, yeah, it's all good. 2150 is your breakout spot. Ethereum doing probably better from a percentage perspective than Bitcoin. So obviously this being prior resistance, has actually broken on Ethereum near term. The next level here, I'll just double check this. Yeah, so this is my next level. Looks like what this is just from a fib. These are fibs, and I'll just be quick here, but you just measure from left to right. In this case, it happens to be from high to low. High to low doesn't matter. It's just left to right. And this is going to give you what we call a bearish retracement. That essentially, if this continues, this should take us to 32 and then ultimately potentially 36s. This is the equivalent of Bitcoin at that 90 that I mentioned and Bitcoin at about 105. Same kind of levels that I mentioned on Bitcoin. The equivalent on Ethereum here, 32, 36 and a half. A little bit more interesting, like this is that prevailing uptrend that Ethereum actually had lost. This guy right here had lost it, and a retrace into that kind of just retest that same exact area. You could imagine if that even does that, then like, oh, okay, then we're all of a sudden, reclaiming this consolidation. Not too dissimilar to what you would look at a QQQ chart right now. But that said, resistance is around 30, just over 3K on Ethereum right now. So I would expect it to get there, potentially a little bit of a pullback from here, watch some buyers step in and buy the dip. And then if they do that, then I would expect the next high to be around 32 to 3,300.
Okay.
But yeah, altcoins from here will have the most beta. Someone's asking about Solana. I would just assume. Yeah.
A lot of the charts look very similar.
Yeah, they're all going to look similar. I mean, we joked about it 2 weeks ago and said altcoin August, but yeah, it's a thing. What is it?
Okay, so let's do.
Okay.
Let's do the S&P, guys. I see a lot of requests in the comments. Again, the way this works is we're going to get through most of the requests. We'll be here for like 4 hours. If you don't see your requests, look in the chapters. It'll be there at the end. But we just got to get through some of the majors, and then we'll get into all the big names that we care about. S&P, I mean, this has been relatively flat this whole week and last week. So I don't know if you see anything too crazy.
Yeah, so relatively flat after a big move, like, to be fair, right? So like a big like consolidation breakout here. Here's this box, right? So that's the consolidation that we had before, meaning like, relative lows, higher low, relative highs, lower high. We had this general turns into consolidation, right? Finally cracks through. I mean, very similar to the Ethereum look. Finally breaks through. And so we have a break. We call this a retest right now. And the last week, we have what you would consider a base. So it's a break and base. This is actually fairly bullish, technically speaking. Let me take these SMAs off. Is that a little bit clearer? Maybe.
Yeah.
So these are daily charts. I could turn it into a weekly chart. Maybe it's a little bit easier to see this way. So consolidation for, I mean, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. 10th week we break out, and we've had 3 weeks more or less sideways, but the process of this sideways action, I mean, has really been to retest this area, right? So we're retesting this over here. And what we want to see next is, from a technical perspective, you would like to see it really just, and this might come into next week since this is weekly, continue on to the upside. And this does, we highlighted target about 800, which is taking this consolidation area right here, just swagging and probably doubling it. Sorry, it's gonna be this consolidation using the wick and then doubling it. That's gonna get you to about 800. I remember that. And yeah, what you don't want to see is something called a look above and fail. Is like, if this is the look above, and this is all going to come down to a lot of this like macro. We have so many events happening in the very near future. What you don't want to see is, you don't want to see this where it like cannot hold this retest. So this retest that's happening right now in this general area is actually going to be a pretty important thing. That said, I'll just throw on some quick like technical levels. Last week, I believe I talked about a retest coming into 750 as support, and we highlighted 770 as resistance last week. So that's really what we've done. And 770 remains resistance right now. So regardless of NVIDIA tomorrow, price has to get net has to get over call it 774, maybe 775. And then I could say, oh, look, we are in the clear for 800. Until then, what happens is that we're kind of like chopping around and we're developing, like buyers are stepping in, right? They're stepping in a little bit here, a little bit here, not a whole lot, but this area between 750, just below 755 remains support. That's all of this right here. So this is your support. Technically, this is your resistance. So just keep that in mind. We are stuck within this range. And as long as we're like at least holding, this is all what should end up being a accumulation range. So why I say, like, if you're looking for immediate turnarounds on some stocks, the process of basing or like developing a base is what we're hopefully going to see in the next few days, probably a couple weeks. But that in reality is like, that's what's happening right now. We're not getting a V-shaped recovery like we're used to. But that overall is fairly healthy. Now, at least that's how it is as of today. Tomorrow, I believe we start Jackson Hole and the interviews will kick off. And then we got NVIDIA after that. We have PCE tomorrow morning. So just so you guys know.
I thought it was Thursday. Oh no,
Is
you're
it?
right. It is tomorrow.
Yeah. So Amit likes to mess with me, right? Since he just, he'll have me come out here, talk about all these technicals, and then have like some of the most major macro events hit the very next day. So if I just FYI, fundamentals are in fact greater than technicals, and but that's what
it's
we
a
have.
lot of data, dude. Retail consumer spending, GDP, core PCE. It's a ton tomorrow morning.
It's big time. So this is a week that is not for the faint of heart. This is going to be an important week. I think it's going to be a defining week. To that end, even after that, next week we have NFP. and yes, Hunt Amit is once again trolling Jason. This is how it happens. But to that end, that's why we're having that webinar next month after NFP is hit. Also, this Friday, Warsh is speaking as well. So not only do you have Jensen tomorrow, not only do you have PCE tomorrow, GDP, you have Warsh on Friday, and you have this big non-farm payroll pivot or what are they going to call it? They're going to call it a non-farm payroll adjustment on Friday.
Yeah.
Annual revision. If you don't think that was important, the last revision was negative 1 million jobs. When they said, whoopsies, we actually reported 911,000 extra jobs.
But if they do
that's what happened last time, guys. Just so you know. So it is important. Here it is.
If they do that, the market's going to pump.
I mean,
because if they do that, the Fed's going to be more likely to cut rates.
Yeah, that's Friday. So non-farm payroll annual revision. Last time was 900,000, dude. I'm just saying, charts can say what they want. And in the meantime, why does the market act in the way it's acting, right? Why can't things hold on to really big trends more than a couple days or 24 hours? Sometimes it seems at a time. And then they start going sideways to pulling back unless you have the big run. I'll just say, yes, having a new baby, I'm heavily attentive at home. But whenever I've been looking at the charts, it's like, okay, something looks good, and then if I didn't get it like boom right then and there, it's like it happened, and then it seems to be kind of like pulling back slowly, and I'm like, okay, it's almost like the market's giving active traders death by 1,000 paper cuts. Personally, is what my feeling is. Maybe it's just me, right? Which is possible, but yeah, there's a lot of data to come. So the good news is we're holding structure, generally speaking. The other news is that, not just NVIDIA. I will say that this macro data, as much as you love NVIDIA or think NVIDIA is going to be important, the macro data is actually more important. That's a proven fact.
Let's put a 2:30 on the clock because we got a bunch of tickers to go through.
Okay, we're gonna hit it heavy today.
Yeah, we'll just hit it. Right.
Got it.
Let's start off with memory. Micron. What do you think about this one?
The great cow. Ooh. I mean, this is nearly flat. What is this? $20 range today. Yeah, I think last time I believe I said 800s to trade against. We didn't quite get there. It's 900. So very sideways. It looked like we could have a little bit down. This one looks completely stuck. I mean, dead stuck, like a no trade. There's a little dash line up here, and then this 725. This is a stay long, kind of be long, but don't be ultra long. I don't know how expensive this is or not, but here is your box that is trading in. It's a no trade in the meantime, because it's not until it's below like 860 that you would probably test into somewhere in here. So you have a downside trigger. It's literally stuck between the 50-day and the 20-day SMA, and then it would be over 1,000 that you would get your actual breakout. I think a few times ago in the past we did this, and we kind of just said, hey, maybe let's just assume that that's the low and this is the high recently. And we did the same kind of exercise and says, hey, where's the bear zone? So that's 979 to 1050. About 3 weeks ago, I believe that we outlined this trade into 1050, but that would be resistance, in which case it was. And now we're kind of pulling up off of that. So I don't see anything wrong with this trade, but this is almost exactly what I'm talking about, where you have, what is that? 1, 2, this one happens to be 4 days, but that trend almost comes entirely back. So you have like the big pop and then immediately pulled back and a lot of sideways action. This is consolidation. Like clearly, absolutely consolidation multiple times over, even this. So in this 870 to 830 range, that's your support zone right over here, like this. And that, honestly just comes from this area right here. So even if this were to pull back a little bit, that's kind of the range that I would expect. But again, stuck into resistance. So if you want to slap like a condor on here, something that sells premium and on both ends, quite frankly, this looks like it's gonna be stuck for a little while, which is generally constructive. All right, next.
Broadcom.
Oh, dude, this is the one where I'm like, bro, what's happening? So Broadcom is decidedly on support today.
That's kind of the main headline here. This
We
new
made a
OpenAI
chip, and it is fast.
I was surprised Broadcom didn't get a big move up with that OpenAI.
I am surprised too. Maybe it's waiting for NVIDIA, maybe it's not. Who knows? But this is support. There's no doubt about it. Like it's right here. So, talk about like exactly on the level. 357. If you pull this back a little bit, here's this broader consolidation over here. Can it go slightly lower? Sure. But it's this general, if you were to say, oh, line in the sand on Broadcom, This is where you start buying if you like it. Down to 340 right here. And then I don't want to buy it below 340. Below that, then there's something bigger wrong with it. I think they should be able to see it. Yeah, there's this big thing on the right-hand side of my screen. This is, again, that volume profile. So just like looking at this is volume by price. So this is a visual representation of support and or resistance, but buyers at price. So coming off of the highs down into this area here, this is telling you that at 340, between 355 to 345 roughly, this is where support begins to show up, and it's largest at that 342 right there. That's the peak level coming from all of this trade here and this entire essentially year of consolidation that Broadcom was in. So yeah, I think you can take a shot at it with a very tight risk to reward, knowing that like if it's below that area, you're probably wrong. Which, you know, in trading, we're wrong all the time, but that's okay. And this at least takes it back to 400 plus, maybe something like that. I like this risk reward.
I think three things fundamentally also happen. Google did that whole Marvell stock options thing, which potentially took some negative sentiment on Broadcom. They had a sell side report downgrade them. They had $5 billion of revenue taken off for next year. OpenAI is negative sentiment. They don't have OpenAI revenue yet. And then they offered $70 billion worth of debt in bonds. So you did have a lot of things over the past week. Probably put some pressure on.
I mean, $70 billion worth of debt in bonds, I think, is the overall, we're out of time, like overarching. It's just so funny, right? Like, why wouldn't it be Broadcom like issuing a massive amount of debt? Google did its bond offering, Amazon did its, Meta does its. Like that's what's to me, this is what's going on with rates as a whole, right? Like corporate America now literally competing with the Treasury for bonds, right. And I don't think Broadcom's going to have any problem raising that debt. Is the other issue, right? So it's funny to me, like looking at this objectively, like, okay, there's only so many buyers of like, how many years was that debt of 30 plus year bonds or notes? Google offered a 100-year note, like specifically directed at like European pensions. It's like in pension funds, endowments. Those are the only real entities. You're not buying a 100-year bond. You're not buying a 30-year bond, not likely. Smaller notes maybe, but family offices, things like that. Those are the rate sensitive buyers. And if it's between Google and the US Treasury, 30-year note at 5 versus 6%, they're probably going to go at 6%. And there's only so much of that money afloat. So that's unfortunately what I see is happening in the bond market. But yeah, so I think they'll be all right. I'm looking for maybe a little short covering on Broadcom literally from here. But so far, it's just kind of bouncing a little bit, going sideways, not really breaking down, but definitely not going up either.
Nebius.
They did something similar too, right?
Yeah, 5 billion, 5.75.
Yeah, the only thing I was looking into this, they sold their stock at 225, I believe it was. Earnings or whatever. Somewhere around here, 225. We'll see. It was a good earnings, clearly. Right into resistance. I actually, looks like yesterday was the first. I'm going to take this down for just a moment. But what this is from this high to that low. That gives me a general retracement area. 213 to 191.
You got to press the clock.
So 191 is like downside support here. This one, you have to take a lot of risk to take it upside. I think it has an extremely high like average daily range, your average move. But yeah, 190 as low. I would like to get long here again on Nebius, but closer to that sub 200 range, personally. I would like that risk reward better because at the end of the day, if you're gonna go long Nebius here, you're taking her for to me, you would want to be taking her for a $400 ride if you can get like a positional like move on it, like sustained move. But sustained moves are generally hard to come by right now. But that would be through here, retest this prior area one more time, and then ultimately break out of this 299 area. That would be ideal, but that's how you would get to the 400 plus. If it can break through that 300, that might be for like years out though. So that's a little bit further out in the boonies. But for now, 190, I think is going to be your general support area. Not I think, but 190 should be your general support area. 245 is actually upside resistance in the meantime, right here. Resistance coming from these guys over here.
Okay. Rocket Lab.
If you like it, I think you could start buying it soon. Last time we had talked about consolidating like this in the future over here, and I think I took one of those ghost feeds. Was it ghost feed or pattern? I think I said do this over here. Yeah. Something like that. And I think that's generally what I believe would happen. So it's just more consolidation. That puts support as close to 60 as you can. So at 65, I mean, you're kind of splitting hairs now. I know it's 10%, but
Kramer said to sell it.
Well, whatever, Kramer. That means buy, right?
I mean, it got hit today, dude. I was surprised it actually fell even further today.
Really?
I mean, yeah, because below 70, it's kind of been bouncing. Below 60, it usually gets a really big bounce, but
yeah,
chilling in the 60s here is interesting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, do these buyers, so these are the buyers that you're looking to step in over here, right? They didn't step in here. Maybe they're a little greedy. Maybe they're like the old AMD buyers where they only want to buy at like an extreme discount, which maybe puts it to like sub 60. But sub 60 is very, I mean, doable, right? Like it's happened multiple times. This is kind of the market that I'm saying, like, look, that's a sustained move. If you don't know how to use the sell button on stocks like these though, either, like it's really hard because you were just here and then you've gone up and what was that? 150? I mean, I don't know. That's a hard move to swallow if you just bought it over here and you never sold it. That's the other question. There are people that just bought it in this consolidation, watched it go to 150, held it the entire time, didn't sell a share, and they're back at break even again. And Kramer's probably one group of people that are saying, I'm just not going to let my trade go red. So that type of person would sell right there. It's just what does the market do overall? Are those sellers going to be more of those sellers than buyers? And I think that probably creates that little chop, which may ultimately create that opportunity down in here. That's me, bro. See, the question is, what are you guys going to do? It's not like it's that ride. And how many times do people take that ride? Countless. You're going to take the ride again, by the way, multiple times over in your lifetimes. So get used to it. Buckle up, buttercups. But I don't hate it. Meta. Getting constructive. I mean, that bounce, I thought this bounce should have taken it. I thought this bounce should have taken Meta to closer to 600. Very close today. Today it is. So here's the earnings move right here. This is that earnings drop. Timer. That's the earnings drop on Meta. And we are now like, I think Meta, you had a easy trade into here. From an options perspective, as an options trader, I'm looking at stuff like this, and yesterday I could have said, okay, well, this is from 560 to 570. That's going to happen, but I don't know that it's going to hold, and I don't know that I'm going to make money because volatility is kind of expensive on certain things right now. But you're at resistance. So that said, I would wait till this is over 5 step. You're going to hit this 20-day, right? Which is, I don't have white on my annotation tools, but you're going to hit this 20-day, which is right in here. And then if it can hold over that, which is going to be over 775, then I think you could take that next leg into that near 600, which by the way is going to just be to your 50-day simple, and take this like general trek right there. I think you could take that as a trade, but you want to see it come up, over, hold, basically like what SPY's doing, break, base, and then get back through. Mind you, the court scenario and legal shenanigans is a big thing right now, so you have to be mindful of that. Headlines are going to move this stock quite a bit at the moment.
Robinhood.
She's moving with crypto. I actually had I have a trade on Hoodie. We're at resistance, so Hoodie's actually at resistance now. I would just like her to hold this general area. I would like nothing better than for Hoodie to fall tomorrow to 108.69 with the hoodlum gods. Hear me, my plea. Come down to 108.69 tomorrow. Stop there. Go back up to 110, maybe 112, and just chop sideways over like 107 for the next 15 to 20 days. I would love that. Anyways, I think that would actually be like the most bullish scenario in general, but does it happen? I don't know. But she looks good. I don't want her to break out a whole lot more than this. She can. 122 is resistance. If she gets too close to the sun, I'm like, I don't want this to happen is my point, which would kind of suck. But just go sideways now. Just breathe, absorb this. It's been a good run. Last couple of days, Hoodie off of 90, 85. Just this little blip in the radar is 31%. 31% in a couple weeks, I believe we're looking at.
Yeah, and I mean, part of the reason has been Bitcoin. So it is a little scary because, like, all right, what if Bitcoin goes back to 73, 74, as you said, and the whole run is erased,
Yeah. So that said, I think Biddy can kind of chop her on 80 also. I think that would be an equally amazing scenario. Does it happen? I don't know. But from here, we need to see support raise higher one more time. Last time we were here, I was calling support at 85. We actually got to, I think, about 88. This held. So this is good. Bounced off of support here, right, into that 98. Pulled back just slightly. That's like it's crazy. This is like a 10% move. I know my drawings are small on your window. And then this is another like 20% move. So big move in very short order. I like it. I love it. I want more of it, but I want it lower. So just at least go sideways for me. I don't think this is breakout time. Just be a little cautious. It could. I mean, this can go up to 122. That's what it could easily come up to 122. I just want it to hold in this general box for a while, within, around 110, but this can bounce. This can get to 122 and a half, much higher than that. And I'm like, all right, I got to do something else, but I'm not ready to say it. Meaning that this thing is just going to explode in my face. If it does go over that 125 and hold. So I think it should just, mature, hold this range, and assuming it does, the reason I'm kind of like this is because there's a lot of consolidation here on all of your SMAs. If price were just to hold sideways like that for a little while, the 20-day is going to come up here, right? Your 50-day is going to be right here, and your 200-day is going to be right here, and then you'll have a massive explosion into Q4. At least that's what this is going to set up for if this can hold this level.
Okay. Iran.
IREN, not too. These guys have earnings also. $30 is support. Well, 39 was that yesterday's support. Some of these Bitcoin miners are on like absolute support. So having looked at some of these charts yesterday, I mean Broadcom, it's sort of like Broadcom. You look at Broadcom's chart today, right here, right now, and you're like, where are the buyers? But it's hard to step in on something like that. But it is decidedly on support. So I mean, we'll have to see. This was support at yesterday, right at $40 from this area over here. Again, looking at IREN yesterday into the close, there was not a buyer in sight. Then magically they show up today. This is what I mean. Like this is a, this thing was going down after hours, and then gaps up in the morning, fills what we call like a half gap, and just goes. So this looks like short covering to me out of nowhere, if you will, since it was downside after hours yesterday. But this is how the market's kind of acting right now, where you could step in maybe even after hours on deep support and get a little lucky in the morning. But that said, it's still, it only works if you bought that one day and sold, because from here at $40 is still support. Deeper support is down by 37. I will say before I close off on IREN, after the raises and everything, resistance was 60 something after remeasuring post earnings. Post earnings resistance has lowered, so resistance now is 50 to 57. So that is your upside target, around $50.83 before expecting some kind of downside move again. So resistance has lowered here, support has stayed the same.
CoreWeave.
You don't hate CoreWeave. She didn't get to the 140, man. She's holding. So again, like in support, lower support is closer to 80 right here, right now, 88.20 is support. Depending on how this goes tomorrow, we could see CoreWeave drop $10 tomorrow, but it's like a coin flip. It's kind of a gamble right now where we are. You have to see more from price action in the morning after the macro. And of course, real deep support is at 65. But any way you slice it, to me, I'm looking at this as like, you know what? I think that this can, I think it's still buyable. Like I think it's buyable. It's just like, how deep of a discount do you want? Or do you get, I would say, yeah, as close to $70 as you can remains the buy zone. And this should have hit 140, but another issue here is that this resistance area ends up being another lower high. The break of this downside channel that we were watching before, this whole channel break ends up being a fake out. Didn't hold right here. And then now we're back into support. So this is actually where you would look to see it take another shot, which is kind of my point at this. And you have to crack through. I know you have to, but you really want to see it break through 100 on the next push higher, and ultimately through 120 and into that 140, 145 area from here. So all that said, that means that this becomes your deeper buy zone, but really anything in here. And sure, if you happen to get it down here, great, but you shouldn't be able to get it down there again. This should be in this general area where this base is, if it's going to take another shot. That's the CoreWeave to me. They're all kind of similar. So like last few days, slow grind down. What is it? 1, 2, 3 with one little, like, what do you call this? So on this chart, let's just say this is what you're looking at. And I'm going to run out of time, but I have a question for Mr. Amit. So you have a big sell-off. Let me pause this. Big sell-off, right? After great earnings, you have general support kind of showing up, and then into a close, you have that last fleeting like whoosh breaking of said support, but then the following day, you pop up and we actually start to base out a little bit. And I think we're live. So to me, I'm looking at this potentially being like that. I'm looking at this being like that potential liquidity grab, but I forgot what you called this. What did you call that moment?
What did I call it?
Yeah, you called it something. Like this when it flushes. Flush is your flush. Your big flush day. Here. You don't remember it?
No, what did I call it?
Is it look below and fail?
Oh,
Leopold liquidation day, baby.
Oh, that's going back to July. No, but that's not on.
I'm just saying, no, in general, like generally
it's hitting
speaking,
those levels. Gotcha.
Yeah, in generally speaking, when you see something hit support and then you have to have a follow through flush day through support, like if I say Nvidia support is 213 and then it hits 213 and then it goes lower and everybody like sells and it goes to 208, but then the very next day it's like 220, boom. You know, I'm seeing one of those kind of moments, right? Just generally speaking across the board.
That is referred to as a liquidity grab, though, right?
It is. It is. But you had but not many people call it. Who's gonna know what a liquidity grab is?
Dude, when I found out what liquidity sweeps are, I mean, at a base level, a lot of times on the order book flow, you have orders that are either long or short, and they get swept up, which fakes traders into thinking it's going one way, and then it just goes the exact opposite, which is why trading is hard. Yeah,
it's very hard, which is why we try to make a point to say over and over and over that support resistance is not always a line in the sand. It's more like a trampoline, right? Like, all right, it bounced into, and now we want to see what happens.
Yeah.
Order spoofing. Yeah. Tesla is a whole nother thing. Order spoofing, if you know what that is, Amit, that's when you put that block order out there on the actual order book, and then right before price gets to it, let's say you have a $20 million order, you put it on the book, everybody sees it, they think you're going to act as support, but you pull the order right as price gets to it and you cancel it, and it just flushes through. That's a spoof. Very rude. Very real.
AMD.
Okay. AMD was a psych yesterday. Same thing, right? Like AMD.
By the way, real quick before we continue, Bitcoin losing 78,000. It is down about $2,500 in the past 30 minutes.
The whole market is like a playing games, dude. Like, I'm just saying. Like, I think the whole market's playing games. Like Bitcoin looking like it's gonna break out. Even SPY just like chill. Let's wait for a little pullback. They're gonna fake you out. AMD, same thing but opposite. I'm just saying this was looking oogly yesterday. There's my umbrella. This thing looked like it was about to fall out of bed. And I looked at it nearly like, do you remember Coin the other day? I looked at it and I was like, this is the ugliest chart I've seen in a long time, probably a week ago. And I was like, maybe it's too good to be true. Like it's a little too clean, like a little suspect. And I had that weird feeling on AMD yesterday also. So like this just looks like a short, right? Like this looks like it's gonna fall out of bed. If you don't know what that looks like, it looks like this, but it would have needed to get through. I mean, 430, but it looked like it was gonna hit 430. And I swear, dude, first thing in the morning, I'm like, I knew it. They've gotcha. I was ready to pull the trigger on like some 400 puts if this fell out of bed. I don't think you have to. I don't think that's not going to happen. But by the way, but 500 here is resistance. Right here, right now, she's coming back into resistance. It would be really constructive if AMD actually did in fact not fall apart. That'd be really good for AMD, because this chart is very heavy, and I think going sideways for this long, probably there are people that have sold, And if it does actually start to do this again, like it could, this is a chart that could turn into a short squeeze, is my point, because it looks so heavy that you would just normally think, oh, it's tired, it's going to go down a little bit, and it never does. And then if it starts to go up right away, like anybody that was already short, they're going to have to cover that pretty quickly. So that said, it still looks very heavy. And resistance is around that 500 area. But I think this needs to get through NVIDIA. Everything's got to get through this week. This week, it's like, man, I slapped some iron condors on SPY for like 3 days, just because I'm pretty sure there's so much coming that we're going to go sideways for a bit.
Bloom Energy.
Bloom. I liked Bloom when we saw it down here last time, I think it was, or some other time. This, just because we had a lot of volume at price in this area. So coming through here, hitting that 200, we had some confluence for a bounce. Again, this is one where I would have looked at this and said, hey, this bounce should have gotten you. I feel like it should still get you to 250. Knowing Bloom, I feel like Bloom the old Bloom to me would have already been at 250. So I'm not really sure why this is not quite at 250. One thing I will note is that there's this little order block. What is that? 220s, 223 and change. That's kind of started to develop over time. That's what this is toying with. To me, this needs to get to its 50-day, which is at that 240 area, and it can retest essentially this. These are all what was support turns into resistance right here, and then solidifies itself as resistance up over here. So what price does here, I think is going to be very telling right around that 240 area. So even if it does come into this and says, okay, well, let me hit my head, but ends up holding and doing something like that, that's going to be right here in this moment. That's a cleaner risk to reward trade for a longer term move. Otherwise, here you kind of have to be a little bit more. You have to be a little bit more cautious of more like a fake out. You just don't want to see that. But near term, yeah, this is bouncy. Another one that looked like this, I think someone said it earlier in the chat, Zeta, both Zeta and Microsoft, and Palantir for that matter. We haven't looked at any of those, but all right into heavy resistance, faded slightly, but no confirmation of actually breaking down yet. So they're just kind of going sideways, slightly lower, but generally sideways. Slightly lower for Zeta, slightly higher for Microsoft, generally sideways. Everything's kind of like in wait mode. So like everything, it's like the stock market was told, hurry up and wait. Hurried up, got to its spot, and just waited. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not.
Let's do those three: Zeta, Microsoft, Palantir.
Oh.
How are you thinking of those?
Yeah, so Zeta 2769. That's so. Again, this is your resistance area right here, right now. To me, when I zoom in on this, I'm like, dude, this is a measured move. This is the bearish. This is a bearish retracement on Zeta. By the way, this is just so wild. Like, I'll measure this, and it's like, okay, it doesn't really get. That's $27 and call it 70 cents. I mean, near exact right here. So it's trying to establish a new support level significantly higher than the old one. If this were to fail, then I would expect this to be your actual support level, 24.45. But this is not happening. Kind of like last week, we looked at Zeta and we said sell calls, right? Sell calls versus buy puts, like sell calls over that 30 plus kind of area. This is exactly the scenario in which you do sell calls, and it's best to sell calls. This kind of chart not gonna do you any favors buying puts. You're probably just gonna decay away every day, just a little by a little. And buying calls probably not ideal, having gone sideways for a while. This is that scenario. So yeah, I don't hate it, but I think this is maturing as a stock here. Let this go sideways for probably about another, where are we at? This was on August 12th. It's usually about 40 days, 30 days plus.
Right.
Yeah, to wait till next month to make a move on this. So I think for the next 2 more weeks, this can probably go sideways, week or two. What was the other one you said? Palantir? Also,
Microsoft and Palantir. Yeah.
Oh, so Mike, so Palantir, this is literally spot, right? So the spot, for me, right here, measuring from extreme high to extreme low. This is how we, it's almost like I do this and they're like, oh, this is just total astrology for men. But like to see it happen over and over and over again now, like you guys kind of see, like it's
You're
not,
talking about resistance and running into that.
yeah, resistance and how you find it, measuring it, being able to align it with like something like your volume profile here, right? Compared to price action with a literal ruler, like a little rule. I'm measuring from here to here to get here as my resistance area. Do I have a confluence here? Can I find it over here on my volume profile? Like to say, when we're down here, looking at this kind of broadening range and saying, you remember this? And saying exactly at this moment, like, okay, we have a good chance of actually getting up to that 170 plus, but at that point, kind of like take measures, maybe sell calls, something like that. But
and confluence is basically finding a second or third confirmation for your thesis.
Yeah. So
right.
So it's like you have all these, on basis points, how how it cracks me up. Whenever you have a technical guest on basis points, Steve is always grilling them to be like, what's the one indicator, right? Give me the magic indicator. And I'm like, dude, there doesn't exist a magic indicator. Like it doesn't happen that way. But what's true is that what we do is that we take the collective knowledge of all the indicators and say more of them, whether it's simple moving averages, volume profile, RSIs, CCI, whatever, Ichimoku, I don't care what you use, right? They all have their own little thing, but the more of them that say the same thing at once, that's your confluence. Context is the market overall, right? Like what is the sector doing and things like that. So you have context and you have confluence. And the more each one of those single pieces have a very small, finite statistical edge to them, right? And if you can add up multiple statistical edges, boom, you have a system. Boom, you have a probability for an entire trade, and all of a sudden I can put money behind it, and voila, this is how you look at trading as a statistical.
And I think
thing.
Everyone has their own forms of confluence, but as long as you have the 3 or 4 things you need to line up to take a trade, that's what matters. Right?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one you use. I think each person has their own style. What worked for me is different than other people, but it doesn't matter. What does matter is that you have a way to give your trade checks and balances and an edge. You have to find your own edge in trading. Yeah. And when you do, things start to click, right? And like here now, this is one where like, maybe just let it chill for a little bit. It's not going down. It's a little exhausted, but going sideways for a month or so, this is very good. Hang on. We're parched.
What's the drink today?
I don't know. I'm feeling just like water, but I don't have any regular. I have one water. All right, this is my last one of these. This is for Steve, Asian Jason or white Jason. We're gonna go with the ocean bomb. I can't have it. This is
it's like an iced tea or something?
No. It's like an orange soda. Oh, it's technically mango soda. This is it's mango. Can you read that? It's Nami.
I've never seen that brand before.
It's One Piece.
Oh, that makes sense.
Nami.
Yeah, people in the chat know it. That's an anime,
food drink. I thought it was gonna be like orange soda when I was at the store. I just grabbed it, but it's is in fact mango, and mango does in fact taste different than orange. So
that from
He
Dragon
doesn't
Ball
know
Z? No, I'm just
Naruto.
kidding.
Naruto.
Kidding. Dude, I
He does.
thought
He's a Dragon Ball
I'm
Z
not
guy.
yeah, I thought it was part of the whole thing. But anyway, I thought they were both together. Microsoft.
You know, same difference.
It's a classic, dude.
Absolutely. Absolutely classic. So Microsoft 480. So same measurement, same way I got here, right? So resistance actually from this area here, it goes a little bit higher, right? How do we get boom? Looking at the volume profile here, volume at price. But this measurement from it's really this, right? This peak to that to there gave me this actual kind of like bearish resistance area, which is around 490. Post earnings, we have a huge move. Boom. That was the upside target and resistance. Microsoft, I thought was going to fall. And I don't think it necessarily is. It may, but like, look at this. How many times this gets tested at my 480? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And finally, it just kind of like, as of this Monday, this week started to kind of hold over. So the weekly candle, if you will, on Microsoft is still neutral, but it's within, it's higher. It's on the high end of last week's range. So anything over, I'd want to say literally right here, right now. It's hard for me to take a breakout trade in this market. I'd rather not, but Microsoft is at a spot where if it were
I feel like
go,
the move already happened on Microsoft at this point.
The first move did, yeah. And so I thought, I mean, it pulled back a little bit, but to me, this had all the markings of pulling back to 450s. It's proving me wrong right now. So I cannot say that at this moment. It's literally holding steady. 480 is support. If it goes like any higher, then in fact, it probably will retest this range over here, which is like another $20 to $50. It's this move into the top of the. It's an attempt to all-time highs. So like, that's a full recovery. If this one stays up here for now, it's at the tippy top of resistance. I don't necessarily want to go long. I tried going short for a little bit. I said, nope, we'll see what happens from here. But yeah, she's holding strong. I think this one is just, you kind of just chill and wait to see what happens next. But it's very intriguing. I think, again, this one, it's not about where we are today. It's about where we go next week and after that, and anticipating ahead of. This is holding strong. It has failed to break down, so it might need to go a little bit higher. Crazy as that sounds, because the first move did happen. You're absolutely accurate, and honestly, it should have pulled back by now. The fact that it didn't, you're like, oh. A lot of these are kind of like that. A lot of them should have pulled back significantly more after big moves if they weren't going to hold, but they're holding, and that's constructive.
Which is kind of what happened to our next stock, Amazon, lost 280 and kind of now just chilling at 260. Which is, it's nice that it's above 230, but I mean, it has lost a decent chunk of that move. Yeah.
So this is, I mean, picture perfect market of what I've been talking about, right? So this is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 days straight flatline. I mean, flatline. If these were going to come down, I feel like they should have already. And the fact that they're not is constructive, but it's still like they're stuck, right? They're not going anywhere just yet. So a move is happening, a move is brewing, but it's not quite there yet. So either this does come back down to that 240-ish level, or it goes to it's dead center, right? So like essentially what I'm saying is this is your support area and this is your resistance. So dead center in this box, she ain't going nowhere. Which is unfortunately, but so a trade will come. And it's once I have price actually moving in one direction or another. But until then, a lot of these are, like I said, they hurried up to get to where they are, and then now they're waiting. I'm like, really, guys? They're just waiting. So it's a good market to sell some premium, at least for a little bit.
Google.
Goog's similar. Goog's, I'd say, is longer term, a little bit more constructive. So I'm on a daily chart now. I'm just going to turn off all the lines and just go clean. So Google, I think this is kind of the base that I'm looking at. That's just around kind of this area here. So turning that from what was resistance into, call it support. I want to see this actually break through and then ultimately crack back up to the upside, which at this point we will run into likely resistance around that probably 375, 380. So I'm looking for a trade on the Googs to capture literally this move, that little green line right here. I'm in it already. I think it takes a little bit longer from a waiting perspective, but this looks constructive to me. So all that said, I like the Googs. I think you have a clean tradable base off of it from a short-term perspective. Here are all my lines, but that makes 340 as support right in here, which we're just coming off of, and I'd like to see it hold and continue to slowly grind higher till ultimately it squeezes a bit more into that 370 plus area towards like October, maybe September. We'll see. Hopefully it doesn't go sideways for too long. I'm just noticing this. I don't know why I didn't even have this, but I'm just gonna throw this onto a monthly, maybe a weekly. Yeah, weekly. This actually, maybe even a little bit more bullish, generally speaking. If this is, I mean, this is another one of those break. Look, I mean, break, retest, base. I'd like to see this. That's typical price action. So the typical like stock movement, you know, like they go in waves. So this is like one wave, two waves, a rest, and a wave.
But I also feel like Google's just like, if you're buying it here, there's nothing to worry about. It's just expecting the massive like $400 breakout. It just might not happen soon, right? But it's
right
wrong with the company at all.
Yeah, so I don't think it's right away.
It's not like Meta where it could actually fall to 500 if something horribly goes wrong with the court case. Like Google, right? It's Google.
300.
Nothing controversial about it.
A Meta, yeah. Or like
exactly
Tesla,
like 300.
You know,
yeah,
350, whatever.
Yeah.
It was. Let's just, you know.
Do you actually think Meta could go to 300? Do you actually like
350? I mean, yeah. Dude, I'm waiting.
I know. Like,
I don't know that it does or doesn't.
I would love that. I mean, I would hate it in the moment, but it would be an amazing opportunity. But I just don't think the market's that irrational to take it down there.
Yeah, BD Tank says something here notably. I'd say, will grind your leaps down. You know, as an options trader, this is kind of like my sentiment. What I've been trying to slowly say is that like we are going sideways. So it's not an ideal market to buy leaps. It's like I said, sell premium over the last 2 months, maybe like half the time, like sell premium. We're not in a clear trending market right now. We are in a slow grind market, but we're not in like a breakout market, like full blown, right? We're in a market where it was raging bull market, the AI trade. Now everybody else and their mothers come out and said, you know, oh, hold on, pump the brakes on that a little bit. Meanwhile, software has been cheap. It's had a big move, and then that stopped moving, and then there's this rate thing, and quite frankly, if you sit back and take a step back for a second, you'll actually realize that freaking healthcare has been outperforming by far, like tenfold, maybe everything else, as well as staples for the last month and a half, maybe since July, or before July, like June, for the last couple months. There's been a bit of a rotation in the market, and you know, we'll have to see where we are. I think we're about to get all right, is that done is that rotation into healthcare and we call it cash flow. It's not just healthcare, it's like cash flow heavy. Have you ever seen this ticker? I have no affiliation with this ticker at all. It's COWZ.
House. Oh, I have seen this
the-
before.
You have? Does the chat know
Yeah.
this ticker?
I think you introduced it to us a while ago, to be honest.
Maybe, but I always remember this. Sometimes the market goes into a like they're looking at your cash flow, right? And like a lot of the stuff that we're talking about in Nebius going cash flow negative, right? Or the Mag 7 going cash flow negative, and rates as a whole. The rate story, this ETF kind of represents that in a nutshell.
They basically buy companies that have heavy cash flows, right?
Mhm.
So the
Yeah,
top
you
10
can read the
holdings I'm looking at right now:
prospectus.
Bristol Myers Squibb, Salesforce, Uber, Comcast, HCA, Bookings, Intuit, Marathon, Newmont. It's up 20% this year. It's beating the S&P.
Yeah, large cap too, by the way, provides broad-based U.S. large cap equity exposure with the investment thesis. Higher free cash flow is a mark of stability. So in a nutshell, and I think that has to do with rates. So if the rates, if the Fed, even if the Fed does do like $1 trillion and go back to QE, without changing actual rates, that's probably all they would need to do. Then the long bonds would come down. This ETF would actually sell off, and AI would go right back into favor. So we want to be a little cautious of that in general.
Right.
Yeah, you guys haven't seen this before, Cows? You're welcome. I'm giving you a new one to watch.
Marvell.
Miss Marvel. Did you know there's an Indian girl that does it? There's a Marvel. There's a Marvel character. It's like an Indian girl. What's her name?
What?
Nobody knows her name. Yeah.
What Indian girl?
There's an Indian girl. She's got bangles.
I don't know
They
enough
know
about
it.
Marvell to.
Marvella? It's not Marvella. Come on, dude. You're so fast.
Kamala Khan.
Yes. Kamala Khan. Yes. Dude, how can you know Marvel, not know?
I don't know anything. All I know is Iron Man. That's all I know. My God.
Dude, you watched.
I haven't even seen.
You asked me about Spider-Man.
That's true. That's true.
Did you see Dune?
I haven't even seen. No, I haven't seen Dune. I haven't seen Avengers Endgame or any of that stuff. But I've seen Iron Man.
Oh, where did you grow up? I don't know. But anyways, we wasted half the time on Kamala Khan, which might be worth it. But anyways, no, it's not a mixed cousin. It might be a niece. But yeah, this is that bearish resistance right here at 247. It goes up to 275. So if this can crack through 247, then you do have a move to finish this to the top of this resistance area here at 275. So if this can actually push through on this move, it's again, sometimes we're used to seeing things like hit support and or resistance and immediately like reverse course. That's not the case here. It's actually held. So it's coming in to retest this one more time. This is the breach. This is the point at which it did fail in the past around mid-July. So that was a real break of structure on Marvell, and it's now retesting that break of structure. So if it can get back through, this is how a long way of saying how we get to this measured move bearish area. It's the absolute peak of that zone is 275. If it can get through 275, which I'm not saying it's going to, it should make a run for all-time highs again. This is dependent on NVIDIA and well, actually it's an earnings thing. It's going to come down to their earnings. So they report after NVIDIA in 2 days time on Thursday. Actually, we have a so that's it for Marvell. We have so many.
There's a lot.
You seen the calendar?
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, bro. I got my leather jacket ready to go. Like tomorrow's gonna be crazy.
Do you really? Oh, that's hot.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so we have Intuit and Zoom tonight. Hudson, you can tell us Semtech. Tomorrow morning, I mean, there's a little known AI name, but then tomorrow night, NVIDIA, CrowdStrike, who's gonna cement the security trade in near term. Salesforce, what are you gonna do tomorrow night? Synopsys, if you didn't know, a massive name. Okta. This HPQ is not HPE. That's not servers. This is laptops and printers, by the way.
But still good for the consumer to see if people are buying that.
Yeah, it's laptop. I mean, if you buy a lot of printer ink, then they'll probably do good. But otherwise, it's laptops and printers. And then Pure Storage as well. Tomorrow night's a big deal. No, Amit's family mostly listens to Nutanix. Your sister, cousin. She gave me a hard time. I knew Nutanix. This is hyper-converged infrastructure, so server, storage, networking, all in one box. Does have an AI play. Then in the morning, probably your best shot, Victoria's Secret, of going long. I don't know. That was Vishal pick from way back when. I ran Marvell and Rubrik. Workday probably not going to move because that has an offer out. SentinelOne. I'm actually kind of interested in Elastic. That they used to be a big player in the space for like containers and things like that. We'll see. But if you thought we were out of the weeds, we are in fact not out of the weeds from earnings season. And even after that, look at this: Palo Alto Networks, Dell, Credo, GitLab, MongoDB. It just doesn't stop. Broadcom, Snowflake, then HPE, then NetApp, then Ciena. Then Zscaler,
and then 2 weeks after that, it's back. It's Q3 earnings. We got the banks.
That's what I'm saying, right? So it's like, dude, this earnings season, how? And then after that, it's like Adobe,
Oracle,
Aero Environment. If you're into that, I mean,
drones. Yeah, that's some
dude,
big ones.
It's just like, and then boom, right? Then you have 1 week with FedEx.
Then you have Costco. They have Micron that week. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's still another 3 weeks.
Where's
of a ton of stuff.
Oh my God, Micron's in its own little island over here. That's random, right? Like randomly on September 22nd. J-Bill, another AI name. Obviously, everybody's favorite BlackBerry. But yeah, man. Their air test systems, and then early October, boom. So I don't know what's going on now, but like earnings season seems to be like a constant thing, quite frankly. Yeah, we're not really out of the weeds.
Technically, we do have more companies going public, and Cerebras, SpaceX. You're gonna have Anthropic, so there's just a lot more.
Yeah,
of those numbers to get from people.
Do you see Dick's today? So Dick's, I mean, that one was gross.
Yeah, that one got hit.
Bitcoin
down to 78.
I said 75, guys. Just wait. Doesn't mean sell it. Do not push it down. Just let it come to you.
78.5 right here. Okay, can we do Uber? Because I think this one is trying to.
I'm still long Uber.
I'm long as well, but I think like 85, 90, like what people have been waiting for. Do you
95?
think that's on the table?
I think if it's not 95, I think okay.
There's too many big guys buying this name.
So you're right. You're right. I'm wrong. Hold on. So do it again. I have it here. So I have this. Let me just. This is into here. It's to 90.
Yeah, what's
I have November calls currently right now, but I am. I've trimmed once already. I mean, I took it off somewhere in here. Like somewhere in here. Yeah, it was after earnings, so it was probably on this retest here. And then it stalled out. And today I looked at it and I was like, she looks good again. She looked really good into today's close. I mean, look at this.
Yeah,
we closed
I agree.
On the absolute to be top of the highs after 1, 2 tests right over here, trying to get through, finally closing over. I mean, holding this $80 pivot right here. That I liked, right? So I thought it was going to break down and actually come in, and I was going to scoop up more. Didn't get there. I did end up trimming one of these, but still have a decent amount of this position. And yeah, I think this
Uber's looking like Netflix. I think both of them together in the same.
Well, yeah, but like I'm just telling you, I spent so much freaking money on your stupid Ubers in New York, and it was like, and I got so used to it. I almost bought an Uber in San Jose the other day. I didn't, but we'll see. So this is the spot, right? So this is in the past where it has had trouble and ultimately ended up breaking out over before. So we want to see really like what happens over here. So this is where I think it should at least get to. We're almost there. Breakdown.
By the way, you got a Rubio headline. Rubio tells allies the U.S. is shifting from strikes to sanctions on Iran. That's not necessarily new news, but if they're done with the military stuff, it does feel like there hopefully are some deeper negotiations going on, which obviously would get oil to come down, get bond yields to relax, and it'd be good for stocks.
Did we just get a Cactus Jack headline right into the chat? Is that what happened?
Yeah, but I also, it's interesting. Bitcoin sold off this morning when the 10-year came down. The 10-year's down after hours. Bitcoin continues. Bitcoin should be going up when the 10-year is going down. Like it's totally doing the opposite right now. So it'd be kind of interesting if crypto actually falls back and it's not. And the only reason it was
Wait, say it again. Say it again. Bitcoin should be doing what when the 10-year is going down?
So when the 10-year is going down, we're more risk off or risk on, because yields are coming down because inflation expectations are going down. So Bitcoin, gold, stocks, they tend to run in the risk on environment. I mean, historically or philosophically, Bitcoin should be going up when there's more inflation.
Philosophically, I mean, a lot of things should be happening that are not.
But, yeah. So I don't know. It would be very interesting if we see like 73, 74 and S&P starts ripping.
It's going to come down to Warsh on Friday, post Jackson Hole. I did this. Can I show my thing? I do a Monday trade plan. Is it okay if I tangent for 2 seconds?
Yeah. Yep.
So like I talked about this just a little bit ago. This being like the corporate. I said this last week too. I was like, look, big tech, corporate America, essentially to me, competing with the legit treasury of the United States, right? And like when you issue bonds, you're looking for lenders, people to buy your bonds or give you dollars. So you're looking for a loan, essentially. And the long-term bond, the loan, like this is when we had QE and all that stuff, like, or that's who was buying, right? And it was essentially this that went away, right? And what was left were for the types of investors that buy long-term bonds, generally speaking, you have investment funds, insurers, pension funds, large family offices, money market funds, some retail. These are all at the end of the day, these are all rate sensitive buyers of bonds. You're not talking about mechanical stuff like no question asked lenders. We're not talking about that anymore, right? And so then what happened was that, okay, big tech comes in, not big tech, but the hyperscalers specifically issuing a massive amount of bonds that are the same people are going to buy these bonds, and they're the same people that buy the treasuries. And like when you can literally go and say, I can buy the exact same bond. If this person, any one of these people, can look at this scenario and say, I could buy U.S. Treasury at 5%, or I can buy Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta bond at 6 or 6.5%. It's just competition, and the rates go higher for those type of bonds, which this has never happened before, right? Like the hyperscalers never issued debt like this. So this goes back. Do you remember the debasement trade?
Yeah,
so
but
the solution was this. But I'll get to it, right? So the solution was to issue short-term notes to pay down, right? Because the U.S. isn't going to go insolvent. But that, to me, is why I even brought this up, is because when you issue a ton, what did the Fed say, like, or the Treasury, Besant said, like, we'll do like another. They did $4 billion extra. They doubled their their treasury buybacks with issuing
Yeah, but
short-term debt.
the thing is, so that's why Bitcoin went up. But if they don't have to do that because the war is over and the yields come down, I wonder if the debasement trade is still.
But I think it's
long.
multifaceted because it's not just the war. I think there's also this corporate America competing with the U.S. Treasury, and what Bitcoin specifically, I think, works best when markets expect easier money. Easier money means a lot of short-term debt being issued, that 2-year note or anything, 6-month note, anything like that, that the U.S. will issue to pay the long bond. That's easy money. And so if easy money,
what I'm saying is if the war is over and oil drops to like 60 again, that 10-year yield is going to drop like a rock because ultimately it's still judged based on inflation expectations. And if that happens, that is risk on because that means we would get closer rate cuts. But if Bitcoin actually goes down during that time, and gold, to be fair, because they're both going up right now,
it would be both.
It would be kind of funny because last year they went up when that stuff happened, and this year they're only going up when the opposite happens.
So I think my point is that the war thing has a longer term effect on these prices, and I think that regardless, the war's been going on for a better part of a year, I think now, and the more recent exponential move, specifically Bitcoin and even gold, the bounce through was, I mean, that happened the day that Treasury said, oh, we're going to double our buybacks, literally that day. So it's 100% correlated, these near-term price action movements with this, which I think is really driven by, in part, corporate America competing with the U.S. Treasury, in addition to what was already driving the larger thesis of the war, to your point. I think these catalysts are kind of stacking on each other. But anyways, all that said, the rates do matter in near term, and they have a lot to do with this Bitcoin. But if the market all of a sudden decides that easy money or short-term money isn't necessarily needed as much, so if the corporate bonds kind of stabilize and the US and 30 years stays around 3, we know that they stepped in around 3.5, then Bitcoin probably will not hold. Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense, but it would be fascinating if the rally is stopped because of something good. AKA,
but that is exactly the scenario that I was kind of like painting. Like that's the 30-year coming down, right? Risk going on, but Bitcoin specifically losing all of it because it was a fake rally on the idea that it's a front run. That easy money, the monetary, money supply comes in hotter. So that is exactly why that could happen.
Okay, let's get to a minute. We'll now take audience requests for the next 25 minutes and try to get to all the tickers. Real quick before that, Mike, thank you for the super chat. Why does Mitt's hair keep getting taller?
Did you?
It's excited to see Jason. I will say that. That's why my hair keeps getting taller.
How many people have DM'd you like the new hairstyles?
No one DM'd me, but in the chat, people.
Bullshit. I did it. I sent him.
Jason. Dude, this is why AI.
Am I the only one that sent you this? I was like, Amit, we need to do this for you. Like, this needs to happen. I was like, guys, imagine. I'm just saying.
I didn't love it, though.
Guys,
I didn't
tell me.
I mean, it kind of looks like what I have right now, to be honest, but I didn't.
It does, but that's why I'm saying it's a small little 1% tweak. Let's give him this deal. I'm pretty. His grinder profile is gonna be popping off like crazy. It's gonna be out of control.
Anyway,
it even gave you the back, dude. Like the back.
No, it did.
It's money.
Yeah, it's amazing. It gave everything.
Am I right or am I right?
Upna, thank you for the $50 super chat. Appreciate that. Apparent, thank you for the $50 super chat. Appreciate you being part of the stream and keeping up with the content. Jason, let's start off with this one before we get into all the other requests. Zcash ETF, ZCSH.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about Zcash, but it is one of the cryptos that has been.
It's all-time high break. Actually, it's wild. It's altcoin. This. Oh God, you're gonna have to throw me back in the Wayback Machine. Probably talking about a front run of the ETF release. This looks like a sell and use event on the price action, but it was doing this long before all of this. Zcash specifically has been like one of the stronger cryptos. I think it's privacy token, like Monero is like the old school privacy. I think Zcash also. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. It's been a long time. But yeah, net, this is an all-time high break. And now retesting. So Zcash specifically is what ZEC. I use USDT and I always go on Binance exchanges because those are the most liquid if I'm searching. And so, yeah, that's 749 as long as this whole, I don't know. Just be careful. It's a huge run. I don't know if this was all, if this entire move was just, I think this would be a selling news event, my gut, right? But that said, Zcash.
I mean, it's gonna follow Bitcoin, right? So
no. So this one specifically has been like very few. This has not followed Bitcoin for a long time. It's a privacy coin.
It's like private Bitcoin. That's kind of the thesis, right?
Yeah. So XMR, but yeah. So like Monero, this is actual. Like the old one.
Yeah,
so like
this has been different than Bitcoin. You're right.
Yeah, this is different, but like Zcash specifically, I don't follow the project so much, but it has not traded with the rest of the cohort. It's held its own on its own with its own merits. So I would separate this one.
Okay. All right, let's get into these requests. SoFi. Let's start off with that.
Is it at 16 or 17?
It's almost at 19.
Is that 19?
Stop being disrespectful to SoFi.
Stop
bro.
it.
Disrespectful.
It's up. Let her do its thing. So no change here. Continue to let it be. This is doing its thing. I would have expected 20 a long time ago. But yeah, ultimately it's ideally it's going to come into its 200-day right around $20. We'll see what happens from there. If it overshoots it, that's fine. It might be around $20 on earnings. If post earnings, it can actually hold a bid, then the next move is into that 23 to 25 area, which is resistance from over here and marks like this volume profile up in here. So that's where I'm getting 23 to 25 if $20 can continue. But right now, the step one, it's been on a mission to get to 20. It looks like it's finally actually getting some movement.
Intel.
Okay. Another one where it looks bad. It looks like it doesn't look good. 97 was the breakdown. But it's also not really breaking down completely either. I think it holds. I think this is on, if I were to short something, maybe in short term against NVIDIA, it might be in, no. I mean, what are the odds? It looks okay. It's weak as hell, but it's in a consolidation move right now. I think if you did see 75, like I had 75 as before, like it got very close. Maybe it gets there. I don't know. But overall, it's like you're looking at potentially that much downside, but it's not breaking down. I think the whole market, semis specifically, are on wait. They're on pause. They're waiting for Daddy Jensen to say what he needs to say, and then that's what's going to happen. So I think this is stuck. Wait till after after NVIDIA. But part of me wants to say like Jensen's going to come out and he's going to talk about client side, which what's the ARM platform that they launched with the CPU on the laptop, AI laptops. If he goes down that road, then probably Intel and AMD actually do catch a bid. If they start talking about the opportunity in AI PCs.
Okay. SMCI.
That's a vibe thing. I actually have no idea. SMCI cracked, I think it was 37 or something. So pull back 37, then goes to 34. Since then, we're back at 37. So it was holding 40. It's the same thing. It's like this one, I would not have expected a reclaim instantly today into that area. So over 37, it wants to hold. It wants to hold, man. It still wants to go. This closed on the highs and extending after hours. 41 is, if it cracks through 41 and a half, it's a big move to the upside. It may not be over. But last time I said it may not be over on SMCI, I got into a lot of trouble, so I can't say that anymore. But I don't hate it, guys. I really do not hate it. I'd like to see it over 42. It's not there yet. All right, moving on. If we did we already did Micron. Instead of doing SanDisk, can we do DRAM, or do we have to do SanDisk?
We have to do SanDisk.
Okay, so then
I got your back, chat. I got.
So we got.
Dude, you don't understand. When you request. You can.
I'm doing it.
No. When you don't do someone's ticker, they take it personally, bro. That's the issue.
Well,
it's not about you.
I want the chat to take this personally. We will not be charting DRAM since you've already asked me for Micron and now SanDisk. If somebody asks me for SK Hynix, I'm probably going to punt that also.
No, but people are the people that are loaded up on SK Hynix over SanDisk. They don't care that it's the same sector. They want to know what's going on.
They need to understand. You need to teach them a lesson.
Otherwise, we wouldn't do CoreWeave, Nebius, and Iren, but we have to do all three of them because.
Dude, I cry every time. But anyways, I know. So SanDisk looks like Micron.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. It does. But anyways, yeah, I think 1300 give or take. It's actually like 12. I want to get in there. Yeah, just under 13 is the support area. It's currently trading at 14.5. Upside resistance is it actually I think is just coming off of upside resistance. Yeah. Upside resistance we had at 1850 into 1673. So if this kind of theme holds, it should make another test into that 1673 right here. But as long as 1400 holds, it should go to.
Cool.
It's literally this. It's not anything more than that. There's nothing more than that in this chart right here, right now. In the short term, long term, you need to wait till we get through Jackson Hole, NFP, all that kind of stuff.
We will talk about energy at the end because Jason has some thoughts on that. So we'll leave the energy tickers for.
I like energy. I bought some energy today.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. Corning.
I like Corning. It is expensive. And you should know it's expensive. You should know it's extremely expensive. And the growth is there, but the only thing I'm kind of questioning right now is does the growth justify how expensive it is? You tell me, Amit. Would you buy? I like Corning's chart, but would you buy it knowing how expensive it is for the current growth rate?
I mean, look, it's expensive, dude, but if Nvidia said Marvell can reach $1 trillion on the optics thesis, I mean, Corning's market cap is what? 120 billion. Not saying it's going to go to $1 trillion, but Jensen also bought a ton of shares at 160.
Yeah, but now everybody's saying Jensen was talking about 2050.
Dude, if this AI bull market's going on till 2050, we are all going to be filthy rich. I don't think we have that long.
Well, maybe from that perspective, we can be patient then. I don't know. 135 is support. We want to see that hold. Technically, it's sound. Fundamentally, know that it's very expensive. Actually, the growth rate is not. I don't know that the growth rate actually, it wasn't as good as it could have been or should have been. Necessarily, they're still building some stuff, but it could have been better. Which means that it's actually maybe even a little bit more expensive for its, I think, 15% growth rate. I believe if that number is right, double check me. But from a technical perspective, this is generally where you would want to see like one of these things start to show up, and that looks a little bit like a basing formation. So give it a month or so, but not too deep below 135. That's into 200 again.
App Lovin.
I think it blew past my. Oh. I want to pull up my broker. I know I put a stop loss on this, and I don't know if it hit my stop or not. I think I bought it here just as a trade, and it bounced, but it looks like it reclaimed. Like, dude, okay. So my sentiment on App Lovin was that it could come into 266, but from a technical perspective, it looked like it would be good for a nice little dead cat in the 370s, which, by the way, from a risk reward perspective, it's like 20+% on equity alone. Not too shabby. It literally bounced right off the dead lows of that earnings candle. So to me, that is what you saw my eyebrows raise. I mean, they don't raise that much. I don't have a lot of facial control, but it's one where I would take a close look. I do think it's a little expensive. I don't know that they get the benefit of the doubt to have a big move higher, but a dead cat bounce could represent 20+% just to retest this 370 area. But if you're in this long term and it cannot get over that 380, ultimately 400 area, don't think this is like the next big thing yet. The chart would need a lot more than that. But anyways, that's App Lovin. I think you have a tradable low. Tradable low.
Tesla
holding strong. I like this to fours. She got to that first level, 365, right in that 50-day. Look, so I think the first move mostly has happened. Was this a Tuesday? I don't know. Whatever day. We got to pull back somewhere in here. Got a big daddy bounce. Actually kind of holding again right at 350. I'm constructive on this name. I think the downside to threes was like good. I picked this up like a little bit lower. Riding her now, I think ultimately to 400 to maybe 415. We know 415 is like the level. Well, I do. They may not, but that's the level. I think she can get a nice move into resistance, which is still another 50, $60 from here. But right here, right now, having had a big move, I think it can go sideways, consolidate a little bit. I like it back around 335, which is like a couple dollars. It's like a pre-market move. Essentially this. If it can hold here, 337, if it can hold 337.50, watch this. Yeah, I'm going over time. Here's the low. Oops. The last low here. This is the low before the low. And if that low can actually hold in the future, right here, I will like it even more, which means that it can pull back for me into here. And then I'd really like to see a big old bounceroo. And that's how I would get to 400 one more time. So I will be loading one more time if I do get this. All right, there you have it. Next.
Nokia.
Hold, buy or hold. Samesies as last, I think we were Tuesday, it was 9. Shot up to, wow, I didn't even see it, got to 11. And since held, yeah, exactly what it needed to do. See this? This is what I'm talking about. If I see this, this is what I literally just outlined on, I literally just outlined this on Tesla. So what I was talking about is here. And I said, what did I say? Here's your low. It was like the low before the last low is there. And then I'd like to see it show up one more time over here. And then I'd be long. So yeah, long. Buy. That is male astrology, is it not? It probably seems like it. But anyways, how else do you want to say it? It's over the 20-day, clean, holding 973. I think you can use the 200-day as your stop, but expect this to get into the 50. And ultimately, if it can get back over all of these broad SMAs, so this is consolidation, right? Then in a while, that would be ideal. So I think you can hold the general top of the 200-day for the long-term people. Cool. Next.
Okay, let's do some SaaS. MongoDB.
I own it. What my stop is like much lower. Why is this not? So it's come down quite a bit, but I mean, it had already broken like this prior peak. Look at this thing. It's coming in hot. This is last earnings. They're not, these guys don't like, I think last earnings, they were like, don't get too excited. I think this can come into the 360s, actually. So I like this area here as support. Wow, come on. Here. I don't know why it's doing that. This area as support, right around 360. So that's going to retest. Really like this area here. And ultimately a lot of this. So we saw it here. I'm basically saying we can see it over here one more time. If this pulls back and holds, structure is fine. But I don't know that it's worth a chase right here, right now, with earnings around the corner.
Salesforce. I know that is earnings tomorrow too, but
yeah, Salesforce coming in hot. I couldn't tell you on Salesforce. Not with earnings literally tomorrow. Yeah, 7% expected move. Average move is 6.9%. Losing proposition. See, when people see these stats, this is the last 4 quarters. The expected move is 7%. The average move is 6.9. So they're expecting more than the average, which might happen. And over the last 4 quarters, so if you took a trade on this every quarter this last year, you would have lost 100% of the time. Like not 90%, 100%. And over 2 years, all right, 1, 2. Okay, you got a winner. You got one winner over the last 8 quarters. I'm just saying, it's to play this game. The numbers are not in your favor. You'd have to even 3 years. Okay, one time. So in the last 3 years, 3 times out of 12. 3 out of 12 times. Literally 30%. 30% of the time you win a lot. 70% of the time you lose everything. I couldn't care less. Sorry.
Okay. I know we did ETH, but BMNR.
BMNR. Beamer. Oh yeah, 30 was resistance. It's at the first level of resistance right now. It's tracking ETH like almost exactly. Almost exactly. Whoever said buy CRM put, I literally said do not do that. Like sell a put and a call. I don't care. You will lose 70% of the time if you buy an option. $20. $20 would be a nice little pullback to support and kind of generally follow what I was kind of tracking. So if this was that prior breakdown area over here, all this, which was support, boom, right into there. If this pulls back into this area and holds, I think that from a crypto perspective overall is exactly what you're kind of looking for. So I think you could take a beat on the crypto trade, stay long, be long. Don't let it pull back too far, but expect a little chop to some pullback is perfectly fine. Beam and R, still, anyways, moving on. I extended
Coherent.
AI trade. This goes into the Corning bucket, probably even more expensive than Corning. Goes into the Lumentum bucket.
But they are growing way faster, right?
Are they? I actually don't know. I legit don't know. I mean, for all it's Global Foundries is probably growing the fastest.
That's true.
It's down the worst. So, there's that. But yeah, it's just like Corning. It's just like a lot of them where they're boom, right on support. So all of this stuff here, right, having held, once, breached once, held the third time. Now we're going one more higher low. Technically, this is sound. Technically, this is still in a giant consolidation, though. And I would probably say, here's what I would expect to be kind of like that general upside resistance, probably around that 3 and change area. And as this consolidates later on, your estimates will get a little bit tighter. The only way this really breaks out is if this is well over 350 on Coherent, but it's on support right here, right now.
Cloudflare.
Today's CDNs, Cloudflare is not really a CDN. It's not really fair to say that. CDNs had a little bit of a pullback today. I think going to be about, I don't know why, like the market just does not like Akamai. I think that's dumb. But anyways, Cloudflare here. This one also expensive, but I think it can come in slightly. The thing is, like CrowdStrike reports, I believe tomorrow, this kind of follows suit. A lot of times, we'll see this kind of price reaction. Here's this, drop to the downside on earnings, which end up being good. This one, he happened to say we're firing everybody because of AI. But, anyways, a lot of times you get this little pop and drop on earnings. Doesn't really make or break the chart any one way or the other. But Cloudflare is one where tends to give you an opportunity, let it come to you. Sub 250, if you can get that, probably okay. And it holds this general channel. New channel up here. So that's like right in this area. I was kind of talking about something like this. So if it comes to you like that, I think it rides this general channel.
SpaceX.
SK Hynix? No. I kid. Yeah, so unlock happened. Did it?
Yeah.
They released some more shares
last week. Yeah.
It's funny how this thing's trading, right? Like it's like, oh, the unlock's coming, and then it happens, and then are they actually releasing shares into the market or not?
No, they did. It's just a question of, are those employees actually selling it once they have the
clear? I don't think they are.
Well, it is down from 150, so I guess someone sold it.
Yeah, someone sold. Like these people sold it for sure. So I think 150, which was that first IPO price, was a little bit of a floor here. Ends up being a ceiling here. I think it's tradable against that. 135 was, I believe, where you bought your shares, something like that. So this is a mid buy line. He's since sold, I'm sure. But this is everybody else.
I can't touch this stock until 100. Like I just refuse to do it. I'd rather. I feel like people are having FOMO on SpaceX for no reason. Like
yeah, sure. They have
it's a neo cloud.
Everything for.
It's literally a neo cloud, bro.
I mean, it's like, a neo cloud. It's a
no, but none of the growth
company.
None of the growth to justify 4 trillion, 5 trillion is Starlink. It's the AI business, and that Nvidia is the better buy there. Like I don't get the hype on it. I really don't right now.
I mean, it's Grok, isn't it? Is it Grok?
No one uses Grok. Like
I have Grok.
when we're talking about mass enterprise adoption, Grok's not there. Like it's just not a thing.
I have Grok though. I feel like I pay $200 a month for all of them except for Grok.
If you have X Premium Plus, you pay $50 a month for.
I pay 15.
Grok.
Yeah.
Oh, I pay 50. Okay, so
50.
Yeah, because I need X Premium Plus, and you get Grok with it. So I really am paying for X more than Grok.
Yeah. What do I have? How can I tell?
But the point is, like, I just don't see the reason to pay an exorbitant multiple on SpaceX when it's a neocloud. Okay, I'm not paying $300.
No, I have this. You have this. You have Premium Plus.
It's $50. I might be grandfathered into my plan. Okay, you have 30.
I don't even have a $50 a month option. Wow.
Yeah, it was like a year ago. But that also, and then you have the share unlocks. So to your point, that it could be a headwind. Can we do Rivian? I know you love this one. I'm so excited.
Rivi? No, I mean I like Rivi, man. I think it was the hype of the R2 release is great, but it's just hype is what it is. I think I like my Rivies. That's all I can tell you. That said, the stock has gone a whole lot of nowhere for a very long time. But
great for selling calls.
Sell calls, whatever, or just legit look at it as an investment.
Dude, look at Uber. It's almost 81 after hours.
I know, dude. You had to pump the stock, didn't you? It's gonna be 82.5 tomorrow.
Dude, let's go.
But anyways, it's a very teeny tiny channel up. I think between now and the end of the year, like this is when the ramp starts. R2 is fine. It's actually good. It's a good launch. It's not going to be like the end all be all. There's an R3 coming, but R2 is what would get them out of the absolute shithole. Sorry, moms and dads. R2 is what's supposed to save this company from like destruction. And that's really bad. It's not that the company is priced for destruction, quite frankly, but there's a call option in here, right? And the call option is autonomy plus. It's that like long term. Okay, well, Rivi is not like that. Tesla FSE is not the only game in town. These are the closest next bet right here. It's like an actual thing. It's a secondary company. That said, Rivian owns half of that company now. In addition to Volkswagen, say Volkswagen. Volkswagen. Yeah, I don't know that it gets to be $160 company again. But it's gonna be. I don't think it's going bankrupt, man. And I think it's worth a shot. Between now and the launch of R3, not R2, which is the end of 2027, it could get choppy and it'll ups and downs and slightly higher than it is lower. And any kind of dips probably end up being buying opportunities specifically on probably specifically on any pushback of R2. Like R2 is a brand new model for them. I don't expect there to be zero bugs or hiccups in R2. So whenever there's an issue in R2, I would look at that as a buying opportunity, and that would probably crush the stock to like 12. And those are the moments that I would gobble up the stock. Not here now, but when a headline crushes it for some dumb reason, I say dumb, but for some reason, whether it's the Georgia facility or an R2 production hiccup, I think you pick this up opportunistically if you like it, and you hold long term. Yeah.
Amcor.
Dude. So the AI trade, like this thing, 45 is the level. She was looking like 100, and then she wasn't, and then she broke down, retested 60, 65 is that all-time high, 2000s. This is the .com stock. This in Viavi and Corning, for that matter, all the .com stocks. 45 is your support area. So we're testing it. We're coming in one more time. Did you know these are .com stocks?
Yeah. I mean, over the past 3 months, I looked at their max chart and I'm like, oh, this shit. It's 25 years ago is when it even got close to these, which is kind of scary, right? Because it's like, but then you have to trust in everything you're seeing with earnings and the broader AI story. But these are trades. I don't want to hold Amcor for the next 10 years. I could hold Shopify for the next 10 years, you know?
Well, so to that point, then it needs to get over 65 immediately or very quickly within the next 2 months or so. And if it doesn't, then you might not want to. So that's kind of like my line in the sand. Not that I don't like it. Like I actually do, but like when you zoom in and zoom out and look left, this is what I'm talking about. So we're talking about 2000 being 65 high right over here. So far, we have like a break above and fail. So that's why 65 needs to get back to very quickly. It should at least retest it, and then it needs to actually hold it. If not, it's going to look more like this than not. And from here to, I don't know, the midpoint of this box, we're higher, we're closer to the highs than we are the lows. So it's at risk.
Netflix.
You'd have to look at the thesis. Netflix.
I think Uber and Netflix are gonna break out to the 90s.
Did you at least watch a K-drama?
No.
Dude.
I've never seen.
What are we even talking to you?
I mean, does Squid Games count?
You're just disrespecting Netflix, dude. This is the greatest part of Netflix is the K-dramas. But anyways.
No, Breaking Bad is the greatest part of Netflix.
Breaking Bad, was that even Netflix?
But it's like the only place where you could really watch it. So technically. You know, Breaking Bad didn't take off when it was on TV. It took 3 years after.
Yeah, there you go. It wasn't even Netflix. It's not even a Netflix original content, bro.
No, but Netflix pays a lot of money to license it. And they have for 10 years.
So then would you go out as far as saying that Breaking Bad was one of Netflix's biggest successes?
Yeah.
And they did not create that content at all?
Yeah.
So then they shouldn't be creating their own content necessarily.
Yeah, I think they should be licensing a ton of content. A bit like the original content, some of it's worked, a lot of it sucked, you know? I think that's been the issue with Netflix. But I think it's the cheapest it's been in 4 years. So I think this is where it balances.
It's the cheapest it's been in 4 years. Look, you know, below 75 was ideal. If it got to 50, 60 bucks, then I would have had to just like unload on this bad boy. But so far I haven't. Can it retest 75? It totally can. I just want to see it hold 75 from here on out. That's all I would need to see. From here, like a retest of 100 is, so it's got to get through its 200-day simple first, which is about 89, 90 bucks. And that's going to, let me pause this. That's going to line up right around this prior consolidation. So as this gets closer, see that's boom, right on the 200-day. It also aligns with this kind of like volume shelf over here. So all these are people that essentially sold the last shoe to drop. They sold it all. And then you have your, what did you call this? Liquidity grab?
Yeah,
your flush.
Liquidation.
Your big flush, right? When it was holding 70 and you got like a handful of days and it flushed below, then it reclaims. I mean, literally, that's how this stuff works. Like you have support, cool, right? Like you have support 70 here and that's 75 and it doesn't hold, right? It gets down to you and then you have your actual flush and then it starts to reclaim. But where's it going to? So all that said, it should be going to here to attack these people. And it's what do these people do when price actually gets there? Do they sell it again? And if they do, that's fine. You just need to have it hold 75 in the near term, in the future. So there you have it. There's a story of Netflix.
Okay, last couple, and
expect
then
it to go close to 90, just below.
Last couple, and then we'll end off with energy. Celsius.
Not in the fridge today. But did they do it again?
Dude, I think it's up like 40% from the lows.
I mean, they always do that. It's like price can't do it without actually catching your liquidity grab.
Yeah.
Do you know the people, my community, my crew, whatever you want to call them, like they make this big joke about trading sometimes, and they're like, Jason likes a stock. I'm not going to buy it until it's below his stop loss. Like, I'm going to wait till Jason gets stopped out, and I'm going to buy his exit. I'm going to buy his stop loss.
Why don't
And
you
they
put your
make
stop
way
loss?
more money than I do, dude.
Why don't you put your stop loss near the liquidity grab?
It is. It's like, but it's like on it, and then it's
But it
like
still goes lower.
it goes lower, 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 and then you're like, dude, you know, how rude. What is that? Like from a percent? They know. That is what? That's like a 16% drop. Whatever. But I didn't do this one. Could have, should have, would have. Wow, dude. Off that epic low. I even have a little, what do I say? Price of interest. Right. 23.74 from over here. That's gross, dude. I even have this level from over here. Once, twice.
And after earnings, it was ugly after earnings. So that was the opportunity.
Yeah, there it is. Up 51% from the lows. You don't even notice it on the chart either.
You don't. You literally don't. Dude. So do you like it here, or do you think it's the move?
I mean, no, I just haven't bought the drink yet. I don't know. Can we check on Vita Coco?
Yeah.
See if I haven't really been buying coconut water either, though. But I did try them side by side, coconut water versus Celsius. Which would you rather? Cocoa water chart actually looks a little bit better. Celsius chart looks like more discounted, but they both look fine. You know, I'll tell you what, as a whole, you know, this is a tangent moment. As a whole, these guys go into the staples, right? So the staples, consumer staples, XLP, today, this is just their sector, right? Because of what group they trade with over the last 5 days, healthcare and staples. This is just the spiders, right? 1 month, discretionary. I think that's staples here. Their group of stocks are doing pretty good, right? So top 2 in the last 5 days, literally top of the day. I wouldn't chase it, but I get it.
Reddit.
Dun dun dun. Ooh, it had a big day today, didn't it?
Yeah, I got a nice rebound.
It looks fine. I mean, that looks like that was the general support area. I mean, if it has another okay, so you're in Reddit. What's your stop loss? Normal people stop loss. I know, right? I know you don't. I'm well aware, dude.
I mean, I'm not trading it. I actually, want to hold it. So
yeah. Well, most people would probably do a stop loss at this. So if they want to buy your stop loss, then you probably buy it down here, which is probably exactly what happened right there. Yeah, I think you're okay. You should be going back into 183. That was from way back, right? Like if you were going to take it off of this, 183 is where you don't want to see it go below. You're trading in that range. 220 is if you can get through that, 220 is your largest resistance here. You want to do some energy?
Last 2, and then we're going to do energy. AEHR.
Earnings later. That's a complicated chart, my dude.
This one's so volatile with the photonic space.
Yeah, so very complex chart. Well, it's a broad formation. Massive consolidation in. So whatever this day, Thursday, April 16th, that is your center point. Technically speaking, 91, and your entire support range takes you from 95 to 80. So you don't want to see this really go below 80, but that's where everybody's stop loss is. most of the downside has happened. You really don't. This would not be ideal for it to go much lower than 93.07 right here. Yeah, this is a volatile chart. Looks like you could get a good week of a trend though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days up. So I would best thing that can happen here is that this goes sideways, and then you get a crack over 105, in which case you could take another shot to the upside. That's what I'd look for on air test systems. If it's going to hold momentum. If not, sub 90, you should expect 80, potentially 60s. And it's lower from there.
Hims.
I thought you said we were doing energy. We have promised.
2 more. Dude, we can, but we're going to have people that are sad.
Why do I have this? I mean,
we can't get through literally every ticker, but trying to get through the ones that
he tries. Yeah, way too many lines on this chart. Hang on. Way too many. All right, so pull her back. So Hims is on 35 resistance, coming off of this breakout up over 25. So, I mean, technically, as long as it's in this box between 35 and 25, it should be okay, but I would expect it to be stuck in there. It's towards the high end right now. Oh, look at that. Yeah, so 25.40 is that prior break from here. You pulled in, breached down to 14, which is when you bought. Did you buy this? I think you said you bought this at 12. Was it at $12?
No, I never bought this. I bought this at 56 and sold at 62 after holding for 5 months.
Okay, that was that was the beginning trader of Emit.
That was That
was
because it went.
That
from
was
56,
the start. That was the inception.
Well, it went down to the 40s, and then one day, it was this day in June where it popped up for some reason, and I was like, all right, I have enough of this volatility.
Is it GLP-1s or GLP-1s? What's the GLP ones or GLP?
No one calls it GLP ones.
I heard it called GLP today.
Who has ever called it GLP? I've never heard that.
I heard
That's
it.
crazy.
Okay,
absolute last one before energy.
So I think this is generally here $25. I would put an alert on 25 if it breaks down. You could see that easily, but that ideally you would like to see it kind of base around that area. So anything below 25 is probably long-term viable, as long as the company isn't insolvent. And then 40 is your nearer term upside resistance. All right.
Epsilera. Then we'll do energy.
Huh?
Epsilera.
What's the ticker?
ABCL.
ABCL.
You haven't seen this chart. You're gonna go crazy.
I've seen this chart. I just don't follow this chart.
It's a big breakout, dude.
This is a penny.
But once again,
it's a penny stock.
And it's a buy. Look, their drug results did well.
Oh yeah. Yo, no.
For,
so
for every biotech that does well, there's 100 that do horrible. You know,
4 billion. Nah, she's been a penny stock for many years. So this is to me once a penny stock, always a penny stock. Technically, it no longer meets the threshold of being a penny stock. It's over 10. But yeah, this is biotech. This is a cancer drug.
I have no idea. I don't think
you got to stay really abreast, no pun intended, of the situation here. Seriously, I just literally didn't mean to make a joke out of that. But yeah, 1049 looks like this prior breakdown area. I don't hate this. But this is the whole story, dude, of AI coming into the sector, biotech or whatever, and actually curing cancer.
Right.
and I think this is generally good for the AI trade, but this is the immediate beneficiaries plus catching that like Merc, right? Look at this 150 like, what the fuck? That's a breakout, dude. Like I don't know, we'll just go Gilead. Oh, boom, bingo, bango, bongo. We're hot. This is where the money is flowing. So they took all your AI profits and they bought biotech, right? Cash flows, cash cows. What did you say? Cows? BMY? Bristol Myers. Oh my! Get out of here, Bristol Myers.
Lilly.
Really? Don't make me pull up a chart of Pfizer. Don't you dare. Oh my God. Stop it. You want to know where your money went? There you have it. There you have it.
Tempest,
Look at this.
Yeah, this one went up with Moderna.
Dun, 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 dun. Would you rather do this or Novavax? Because those two went together, right? Remember Novavax? This is the Moderna. Everybody joke. No, it's a penny.
Have you traded Moderna since the big
yes,
one?
I did. I took a short once and I closed it. Like for 40, like literally, I took it short right here. Because it's same thing. Like I was looking, this is like Microsoft 128.97. I took it short right here, and then it did not hold. I held it 1 day and I closed it 2 day. Like close.
Yeah, because it went crazy today.
Well,
but it went crazy down
because
yesterday.
so I have it measured out, right? So like from the move here, Moderna, like this is me like, okay, if they're not gonna buy the story here of Moderna, then it's gonna at 128. To me, I was like, this is $100 stock. And it tagged it once here, and I was like, okay, high or low, potentially here. So I took the shot. And it worked out for like a day, but the options were so expensive because I did options, so expensive that even this, I don't think I made any money. I think it was like the same price, break even. And then over here, I was just no, we're out of the gate, just like insta stop, close for small loss, no big deal. Moving on. But yeah, breakdown would have been below that 128. Is it a breakout? It could be. So if you wanted to know what that is, that's like here, it's up there. It's 250. But I mean, the only one I'm like, I actually own is this. But this is slow and like, you know, I'm not super into this only because this one's specific, like pancreatic cancer. But anyways, there are a lot of good names in this. There you go. Novartis, the one you always were looking for, like Novo Nordisk. Oh God, that's not it. What's Novo Nordisk?
NVO. I haven't looked at that in a minute. That's
okay. I'm scared. I'm scared, you guys.
No, that's not
look
that
at
bad.
this.
It's just down 7% this year.
No, it's reversing, dude. There, look, it's stupid. It's reversing. It's reversing. Going back up. It has, so like, look, all these lines aside, Novo Nordisk. If we were doing that same, you remember the liquidity grab kind of situation, you were probably trading off of this low, whatever that is, 45. You were probably trading off of a 45 low. I say you as a broad thing, like you saw this, somebody, right? It bounces, it comes back, it holds, it bounces again, and they probably traded off a $45 low, and then it breaches that, it gets absolutely decimated, it goes to 35, and you have your liquidity grab, and it's now gone over, come back, held, and now today is a confirmation candle. You know, it is what it is. Whether or not this holds, I don't know, but I think have at it. Yeah, have at it, dude. Because, like, why not?
Okay, let's
I've never said have at it on Novo Nordisk before. Call Chris. Tell him, because I know Chris liked this company. He likes the value traps. Like,
okay, let's
Jason
end
said
off
do it.
on energy. So Vistra obviously is one. I bought some of that today. Talon, you bought. TLN,
I did buy Talon.
CEG. Just in general, like high level overview, your thoughts on the energy bottleneck, and then we can look at these three.
I think so. Talon's a little bit expensive, small, mid cap. My thoughts on, first of all, technically they are all at support, right? They're on the lows. Actually, VST I think is from fundamental from how you're supposed to look at stocks. Is actually the cheapest, I believe. So from that perspective, I like it. Look, a lot of the AI trade has stocks have come down across the board. But with the caveat that the story has not changed. That's, I think, the biggest piece. None of the story has actually changed. Core to the whole story is that like energy is in fact literally everything. VST, I think specifically, like I believe this quarter, one of these last quarters, like the full thesis of everything that you were looking for kind of came true in terms of these stocks. So I think if they go any lower, they probably get a little bit oversold. Maybe I front ran. If I told you my stop loss on Talon, you should probably buy it below my stop loss. So there's that, which would be 300 as a technical stop. So go ahead and buy it below 300. And maybe that ends up being a good deal. But to me, no matter what, like energy becomes the next commodity, if you will, of like, you think of memory and Micron, SanDisk, things like that. Like at the end of the day, like gigawatts, megawatts, whatever, like your electricity bills, all that, utilities, maybe they're expensive now, but to me, this thesis doesn't change. And the more data centers that we ultimately do build, which I do, if you don't believe that we're going to build a lot more data centers, then you should not be in the energy trade. Yeah, these companies end up being able to make a lot bigger premiums than historically they have in the past. So qualitatively, that's my logic just across the board.
This is
energy.
Vistra, Talon, CEG are different than GEV and Bloom and Fuel Cell. Like
very different. So like CEG is the largest nuclear company in the world. They have a deal with Microsoft, right, to spin up some data centers. That data center specifically was like pushed back to 2030, I believe. Pushed back over.
And what you said right there is way different than T1 Energy or Enphase. Like it's
totally different, completely not even in the same realm of energy. Talon, the reason Talon specifically, they have nuclear, they have, I believe that natural gas is actually, in fact, going to be the winner. Today, natural gas like powers over 40% of all data centers. Things like fuel cell energy and T1 energy are like a microscopic flea in the actual like powering of data centers, like a nothing bird. It's not even it's a pipe dream dart shot. That maybe, because the issue isn't that it's not that we don't have enough natural gas, right? It's about we don't have enough pipes to get the natural gas to the data center, right? And so that's why maybe Maddie would like somebody like a Next Decade. It's about natural gas. I think that's the most readily available power source, but it's getting those pipes connected to the data centers, which is exactly why CEG fell at the time, because that whole project was pushed back, not because of Constellation's fault or even Microsoft's fault. It's the connection from the grid to the data center doesn't really exist, which is where T1 Energy comes in from, where Bloom comes in, is that they call this BTM or behind the meter energy, is like behind, not having to go to the grid to source my energy and having on-site power generation at the data center. That's what that whole thesis is about. So it's still power. At the end of the day, it's still that power is everything. Caterpillar is probably the one. Caterpillar has on-site generators. That's why the stock is doing this. It's literally an energy play. And GEV is turbine. So like how does all this happen? It's like NVT. It's GE is the big player. GE Vernova is the biggest player for all of this, right? But it's expensive. It's pull forward. I think that story doesn't change. NVT makes like the turbine components and things like that. It's also done. I mean, look, done really well. But you know, there's a whole piece on all of this stuff. Caterpillar, not Deere. T1 TE is a flea on riding on the back of this energy dog, right? And that's what it is. Generac, same thing. It's generators on site behind the meter energy. But at the end of the day, I really do think that it is going to be natural gas that wins it, and going core to like your CEG's nuclear.
And CEG, Talon, and Vistra, they're all not up 2-3x this year. They're all down 20%. So
no,
wise,
yeah. So, and what I can tell you is that as energy becomes more of a utilities, right? Like probably can look at NEE. As energy becomes more and more scarce, like our electricity bills or data center electricity bills probably going to get more and more expensive. And these companies probably get to, because they're already booked, specifically like CEG with Microsoft, specifically Talon has a deal with Amazon. So VST I'm not as familiar with, but I know that they are the most inexpensive, probably because they might not have the actual contract. Talon has a contract with Amazon to spin up their data centers, right? To power their data centers. CEG has it with Microsoft. It's 3 Mile Island, I think, is CEG, and Susquehanna is Talon. I might have reversed those two, but one of those two for the nuclear sites. And then Talon specifically also has natural gas. They also have a little bit of coal. VST, I don't know that well, but I do know that it is the cheapest of the group. Yeah, nat gas, and electricity and nat gas. So there you go. But it is in the utility group.
Yeah,
but I think they get to charge
as well.
Yeah, but so does Talon, right?
Right. Yep.
So Talon has the Amazon deal.
Vistra has Meta as well, and Amazon.
Oh, Vistra has Meta. There you go. So
I think the big guys buying these energy names as well, it's kind of obvious they know that the high flying picks and shovels are important, but energy is everything.
And so that sentence, just period, bar none. Energy is everything. Without energy, we have nothing. I mean, nothing. And how you get to that energy.
But it also doesn't mean
ways.
It also doesn't mean those stocks are going to trade at a Bloom type multiple, because Vistra.
Bloom is a specific use case. Bloom is energy, right? That is what this trade is about, right?
Right.
It's specifically behind the meter energy. Quantum. There you go. I love it. There's the bull case right there. We go long IBM right now.
But Bloom also doesn't have 20 billion in debt like Vistra and CEG. So there is that legacy.
And Talon had a offering, right? So I think that there's so the debt and any kind of shelf offerings that keep a bit of a ceiling on the stock, those are higher, by the way. So I think these are good prices. Every time I bought Talon in the recent like year or so has been literally at this level or hereabouts. And most of the times buying it as close to 300 as I can.
Right.
I've made a good chunk. So like I'm happy buying it here. Can it go lower? Maybe. And if it goes significantly lower, then I'm just wrong. But what I do know is that, at least from here, listening to these calls, is that more and more energy is required in general. And for every incremental watt that they're producing, they're getting to charge more, because just like a Micron or a SanDisk. And so to an extent, these become those kind of trades, but maybe one that hasn't been like in the limelight as much as the rest. Energy is oxygen. Yes.
There you go.
So webinar, we're going to have we're going to do a little shift around next week. I got a lot of family appointments coming up next week, both Tuesday and Thursday. So I think we're going to shift. I think we're doing Monday.
Yeah, we're doing Monday next week for TT.
Monday next week afternoon. And that'll be the last time before we do a webinar. So we have a ton of stuff. One more. But we have a ton of stuff coming. And again, if you are not part of that, and if you want to have a better idea of like after all of these things happen, that's why this is scheduled for after all these events, because it's about how the market digests all the information that's coming down the pipe in the next week and a half. And so after that, basically we're going to walk through and show you, all right, this is how the market reacted, and moving forward from that point forward, I think this is probably going to be one of the most important trend following kind of trainings that we'll be able to do a long time, because I think this is probably going to be the most important sequence of events that we've seen in a very long time, between Jackson Hole, NFP like edits or revisions, and actual non-farm payrolls post NVIDIA earnings. I think this coming September, this is it, man. We're gonna find out. Do we get the eating season buy or not? But I don't think you have to make any big decisions right here, right now.
What does your gut tell you?
Well, dude, my gut was wrong at the beginning of the year.
No, you still have time to be right.
My gut tells me that there will be some things that it'll be. My gut tells me that it's not all gonna bottom at the same time like it used to. Does that make sense? Or like certain things may have already bottomed. I think maybe they just provide a little bit more, like a better entry potentially if we have it. But my gut is that it's not going to be as bad as we've had in the past. That's my honest gut. But I think there still will be some opportunities, and I'm still shopping around.
Okay, that webinar link is in the description.
Paul, yes, you can view it after for sure. As long as you register, the recording will be up. Hollis, our boy Hollis, has attended multiple, and he has received. He posted a meme in my group the other day. It's like, dude, I went to 2 webinars from Jason, and we give away a ton of swag, like, and just gear, like just stuff. We give away. I think I've hit over 10 grand of giveaways every time, but he never got anything. So it's like I got a bunch of information, but nothing cool. Like, nah.
Hollis is the king of memes, dude. He knows how to use AI and humor and make a good meme.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining again. That webinar link is in the description. Jason, thank you so much. Congrats on the new
Appreciate it, man.
Baby girl. And
yes,
we appreciate you, man.
Charlotte is in the house. Baby Charlie. Yeah. Family's growing, dude.
It's growing.
Pretty cool. And we do like the hair. Little extra product. We love it.
Dude, there's no product in it.
I know, but that's we just got to throw a little bit in there.
Yeah, maybe I do.
Not much. Like what kind of, I'm looking at molding paste, some kind of like something. And then your socials are going to be really popping off. I don't know if they'll be able to handle that, but I like it. All right, guys. It's been fun. Appreciate all the congratulations. I'll make sure to let the whole fam know.
All right, folks. Thank you. We got a big day tomorrow in Vita.
Huge week.
Appreciate you. Thank you.